A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This I believe. Michael D. Fanning is a city-bred citizen who somehow has cultivated the neighborly touch which is thought of more properly as the province of the residents of small towns. Born in Chicago, raised in Cleveland, educated at Notre Dame and Ohio State, Mike Fanning is now postmaster of our fourth largest city, Los Angeles. He is an impressive-looking man in his 50s, with iron-gray hair closely cut, parted in the middle. He is given to dark conservative clothes and an almost inevitable bow tie, a figure sometimes described as the extreme executive type. More accurately, perhaps, he is the human type, with a warm and friendly heart beating behind his dignity. It is not surprising that such a personality would be found active in politics. His acquaintance is broad, ranging from the wonderful fey world of his humorist friend James Thurber to the Hollywood extra and the cop on the beat. He is catalogued as something of a progressive as a government administrator, having been the inventor, so to speak, of post office labor management committees throughout the country. Now, Mike Fanning gives his creed of life.
I'd like to start with a quotation. The world is too much with us late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. I believe that all our mature years are spent relearning the truths which were given to us in childhood. At least that has been my experience. To me, there is nothing so wonderful as the pristine purity of a child's heart, nothing more astounding than the pragmatic functioning of a child's mind. I see, though, that there is a danger of my misusing the freedom and privileges granted me by the Creator, a danger to the extent that I run the risk of losing all semblance to the person God brought into the world as a child. I have come to realize in my middle years that I must renounce most worldly thoughts and standards of measurement. After many years of personal struggle, I am convinced of the literal truth of Jesus' words that unless you become as little children, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. If I am a mature person, as I suppose myself to be, then I must return to the simple truths taught to me as an average child. In them, I can find the cure for my personal woes. And it occurs to me as a human being interested in and a part of the world at large that there lies the cure, too, for civic and international woes. Somewhere, sometime, a man must ask himself, what am I doing on this earth? I have had to do that, and to add, how did I get here, and where am I going when I leave? For myself, I can come to no other conclusion than the one I learned when I was 7 years old in my parochial school catechism. I was placed on earth to know and to love God and to serve Him on earth so that I may be with Him someday in heaven. All the powers of darkness, and believe me, they exist, are united to drive from my mind and heart this simple precept. My fight is to hold fast to that belief. I can do so only with God's help. Therefore, I believe in prayer. Whether I am at work or at play or in my home, it keeps me in constant touch with God. In this fast-moving life, human standards are mutable, continually changing. Only one standard has never changed, as I see it, and never can change. Because for me it is the standard and order of the universe. It is the standard of God. When I am in tune with it, or striving to attain it, I am justifying my existence on earth and preparing for my next existence. For me, there is no other reason for being on earth. This I believe.
That was Michael Fanning, postmaster of Los Angeles, a man of many interests and a simple faith.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as District Attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens. This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. But first, a word from our sponsor.
David Bryan as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
The district attorney never knows what hour of the day or night his phone is going to ring with a crime report. The call in this particular case came at night, about an hour after a boy and girl drove down the main street of a small town on the outskirts of the city.
That car still behind us?
No, I kept right on the highway. What's so jumpy about?
The way he was tagging us, I thought it might be a police car.
You are getting chicken, ain't you, Chuck?
I just ain't looking for a trip back to the reform school, that's all.
Oh, stop worrying. No one even knows this car's stolen yet.
That's what you say.
Well, how can it be? You saw the owner go to the movies. It wasn't more than an hour ago. It couldn't be out yet.
Okay, Rosie, okay.
Fine joyride. Can't even stop to eat or go dancing or anything.
You got any money?
You, didn't have no car either when we started. You ain't like you used to be, Chuck. We used to have lots of fun. So you turned chick.
Don't you go calling me that. I got a gun, that's all.
I got one, Chuck. Right here in my purse.
Oh. Where'd you get that?
Lifted it from my own man. There's a grocery store up ahead. See the sign?
I see.
Can't have fun without any money.
But it's almost 10 o'clock. The place must be closed.
If it was closed, the sign wouldn't be lit. Gonna stop or ain't you?
Sure, I'm gonna stop.
See? Storekeeper's still in there. No customers can see through the window.
Counting up money from the cash register.
Ought to be a lot of it, Chuck. Saturday night.
Stay here. Keep the motor running. Give me the gun.
I want to come in with you. You what? Let me come, Chuck. I can handle the gun.
You're crazy. Suppose he's got a gun, too.
Always an old man. He'd be scared stiff. Chuck, let me.
Well, you better not get rattled.
Look who's talking. You're coming or ain't you?
All right. But be careful.
I always wanted to do something like that.
Evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Just getting ready to close. Your car pulled up outside. Thought it was my wife coming to get me. What can I do for you?
Just hand over that money you found.
Now, why don't you youngsters just run along before you get into trouble?
We ain't running any place, mister.
Now, you just get... Where'd you get that gun?
I made it out of old bottle tops, stupid. Turn around. Put your hands up and stand there against those bottles. Get the money, Chuck.
You're going to be sorry about this when you see the inside of the jail.
Thanks for telling us. Because here's something you're going to be sorry about right now.
Ruby, why did you do it?
I wanted to.
Oh, come on. We gotta get out of here. Check out for that broken glass.
You're afraid, ain't you, Chuck?
Oh, look, get back at it. Let's go.
I didn't know if I'd have the nerve, but I did. I always wondered what it would be like, Chuck. I always wondered.
Hello, Hyden.
hello, Chief. Sorry I had to spoil your party, but I thought...
Oh, that's what I get paid for. What's that smell?
Salad oil dressing with garlic. Victim fell against the display when he was shot. Broke quite a few bottles.
Is he the owner of the store?
Yeah. Name's Malcolm Barnes. Wife found him just like he is, just before 10 p.m. She probably saw the getaway car. Green convertible, pulled away just as she got here.
You have everything photographed?
Yeah. Lab squad just left.
Robbery motive?
Looks that way. Cash register was rival. Oh, watch out for the broken glass, Chief. Floor's a bit slippery.
More than the dressing, I guess. Shot through the back 3 times. You or any of the squad walk through this stuff?
No, Chief. Why?
Stain marks leading toward the door as though somebody walked through this mess.
No, I was careful to see that nothing was touched, Chief. You're the first one to be that close to the body.
You're certain of that?
I was the first one here after his wife called.
You got a flashlight?
Yeah.
Let's have a look outside. The stains lead right to the door, all right.
Lucky I told the men to keep the crowd back across the street.
Yeah. Well, flash the light down here.
Yeah. Yep. Same stains on the sidewalk.
Runs right out here to the curb. Whoever killed him had some of that garlic oil on their shoes, all right. I don't suppose the dead man's wife got the license number of that green convertible she saw.
No. She didn't know there was any reason for it until she got inside and saw what happened. You want to talk to her?
Yes. You sent her home?
No, not to her own place. Went with a neighbor. She's a pretty old woman. She's taking it pretty hard.
Better let her rest till morning. Is there a phone inside?
Yeah. There you are. Pay station on the wall there. I'll wait out my car.
Miss Miller?
Yeah?
This is Mr. Garrett.
Oh, Mr. Garrett.
Sorry if I've awakened you.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Garrett. It isn't our time to call, though. It's after midnight.
Well, I am sorry, but I'm out near the county line. It'll take me some while to get into the office, and I need somebody there to handle some reports I'll be asking for.
Oh, I see. You'd like me to go into the office?
It isn't too much of an imposition.
Not at all.
Well, I should be in about an hour or so.
Yes, sir, I'll be there.
Chief, I was just coming in after you.
Find something?
Well, I don't know. The squad car just picked up a call from Radio Division. Somebody from the West End in town reported his car stolen while he was in the movies.
What about it?
Nothing, maybe. But the car was a green convertible.
Call the Radio Division back. Tell them I want every squad in the city alerted to find that car.
No, Mr. Garrett's been waiting for you.
Yeah, what time is it?
3:20 a.m.
Boy, my feet. Now, that's the life of a DA's assistant for you. We never sleep.
On behalf of stenographers, accept my sympathy.
Got anything on that car yet?
No? Yes, Mr. Garrett?
Have you heard from Harrington yet?
He just came in.
Be right in, Chief. He's hot tonight. I got held up at ballistics, Chief, waiting for the report.
All right. What have you got?
Well, the gun was a .38 caliber police special.
Must be time to do us much good. You speak to the owner of the stolen car?
Yeah. His story is straight enough. Left the car, went to a movie.
Alone?
Yeah, but he had his ticket stub. Knew what the picture was all about. When he came out, he stopped for a hamburger, went to his car, and found it missing.
You check him for a record?
Yeah, nothing on him. Carpenter, good job, works steady.
Yeah. Well, I'd better take the ballistics report down the gun record. See if they can come up with anything. All right. Excuse me. Yes, Miss Miller?
There's a Sergeant Corbett from the 12th Precinct on the line. They found that stolen car.
Put him on. Hello, Corbett.
I've got that car, Mr. Garrett.
Did you get the driver, too?
No, sir. We found it abandoned.
Where?
On the West End, about half a mile from the theater it was stolen from.
Half mile. Any way of telling how far it was driven?
No, sir.
Anything to indicate it might have been used for that killing out near the county line?
Only what you told us to watch out for, sir. There are a few light oil stains on the floor mat. Not motor oil either. Doesn't smell like garlic.
That's what I wanted, Corbett. What's your location?
7 Roxbury Terrace.
I'll be there in 10 minutes. Sounds good. It is. Come on. You listen in?
Yes, sir.
And you know where I'll be. Use radio division for contact.
What about this ballistics report?
Give it to Miss Miller. Take it down the gun records. See if they have any ideas.
Yes, sir.
And call the garage for a car. Tell them we're on our way down.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is the car, just as we found it, Mr. Garrett. Seems we're not going to get any fingerprints from that steering wheel. Not with that cloth covering. Might get something from the dashboard or the inner door handle, but I don't know. Not often you pick up zip prints on a car. Let me have your flashlight, Hank.
Hey, here.
Smell the garlic? Yes. Comes from the stains on the mat. Something else in here, too. Piece of cleansing tissue. What's that on? Lipstick? Yeah.
Just caught a flash of something else. Kind of light.
What is it?
This.
Oh, bobby pin. Lipstick is rather light shade, too. Killer might have had a woman with him. Probably a blonde. Bobby pins and tissue might belong to the owner's wife. Or his girl.
I doubt that, Corbett.
What makes you say that, Harrington?
I saw the owner and his wife, Chief, remember?
What about it?
Woman's a brunette. Got one of those modern short hairdos. Not enough hair left to use a bobby pin.
Whoever killed that storekeeper may wind up with a short haircut, too.
I don't get you, Mr. Garrett.
Step out before they go to the chair.
This is David Bryan. Before we continue with Mr. District Attorney in the case of the Joyride murder, here's an important message I'd like you to hear.
Back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
A storekeeper had been robbed and killed near the county line. The crime had been committed in an automobile stolen from and returned to the West End section of town, indicating that the killer lived somewhere in that section. The lipstick stain and bobby pin indicated a blonde woman accomplice. The leads were flimsy and not very hopeful until we got back to the office.
Oh, Mr. Garrett, I was just trying to reach you through radio division.
Something come up?
That ballistics report you told me to take down to gun records?
Yes.
Well, Johnny Manuel just called from down there. Came across something he thought you might want to look into.
What?
Well, I've got it written down here. A man named Jim Hammer filed a report with Central Division last night just before midnight. Said a gun had been stolen from his house.
What caliber?
Same as a murder weapon. 38 police special.
That could be something, Chief.
Yes, Harrington. Did this Jim Hammer have his gun registered?
Yes, here's the serial number and his permit number.
Well, where does he live?
Over in the West End.
That ties in with the stolen car.
It certainly does. You'd better get downstairs, Harrington. Check this Hammer for a record.
Oh, I already did that, Mr. Garrett.
Well, good work, Miss Miller.
We have nothing on him. Not in the criminal file. But there's something in the special police record.
You mean he's a cop?
Night watchman at the Penny Aircraft plant. As a matter of fact, he told Central Division he found the gun missing when he was getting ready to go to work last night. Couldn't find it in the drawer he usually keeps it in.
What time is it now?
Almost 11 a.m., Chief.
Well, Hammer ought to be home from work by now. You get his address?
Yes. 214 West Spruce.
Good. You can go home now and get some sleep.
Well, I'm not tired, if you need me.
If I do, I'll call you back again. And thank you very much for what you've done.
Anytime, Mr. Garrett.
Let's get downstairs before they send that car back to the garage, Harrington. Knock again, Harrington.
There's somebody home, all right. There's a vacuum cleaner going in there.
Probably can't hear you. Lean over the rail, rap on the window.
Okay. Yeah, there's a young girl in there. Got a towel wrapped around her head, cleaning up. Oh, miss. Hey, miss. That did it. She's coming.
Yes?
I'd like to speak to Jim Hammer, please.
He ain't home.
You know where we can find him?
Working over at the ballpark.
I thought he was the night watchman at the Finney Aircraft.
Yeah, but he works at the ballpark, too, when they play Sunday home games.
You look kind of young. You're not his wife, are you?
No, I'm his daughter, Ruby Young.
Well, thank you, miss.
Can I, give him a message or anything?
No, we'll go over to the ballpark and talk to him.
Well, can I tell him what it's about? You know, in case you happen to miss him or something.
It's all right, miss. We'll make sure to see him. Goodbye.
Bye.
What do you think, Chief?
I'll know better when Hammer tells us about that stolen gun. If it was stolen. Home team warming up on the field.
They need it.
The home team always does. What section did they say Hammer was on?
Grandstand B, just up ahead. Oh, there's a man in uniform now. Hey, officer. Yeah? Like to talk to you for a minute.
Your name Jim Hammer?
Yeah.
I'm Paul Garrett, district attorney.
Oh, well, where you sit, Mr. Garrett, I'll get you some cushions.
We're not here to see the game, Hammer. This is business. I understand you had a gun stolen from your home last night.
Oh, that. Well, you shouldn't have called the district attorney under a thing like that. It makes me feel kind of silly.
What do you mean?
Well, the gun wasn't stolen at all. I guess I just didn't look sharp enough last night. I found it this morning, but in a different drawer from where I usually keep it.
That gun you're carrying, right there in your holster?
Yeah, that's it.
You mean to say you just took a look in one drawer last night and reported the gun stolen without being sure?
Well, I was sure last night. I was late for work and in a hurry. Guess I just overlooked it, that's all.
How come you didn't let the police know you found it?
Well, I suppose I should have. I didn't think there was no rush. Besides, what's the harm? It's my gun, ain't it?
Yeah, move in between these two posts.
Why?
Do as he says, Hammer.
Now, have a look at that gun.
All right.
Don't you pull it. Just turn around. I'll take it myself.
Okay.
When did you fire this gun last, Hammer?
I can't even remember the last time. I ain't had any call to fire.
No, huh? Yeah. Smell this, Chief.
It's been used all right. Not too long ago.
You're crazy, I tell you. I ain't fired that gun in months.
Somebody has. Replaced the cartridges, but didn't clean it.
You'd better come with us, Hammer.
Come with you? Where?
To the county building, until we check on a few things.
Check on what?
Hammer, a storekeeper named Barnes was killed last night out near the county line. He was shot 3 times through the back with a .38 police special.
Are you saying I did it? I wasn't nowhere near county line last night.
We know you filed a stolen gun report about midnight, but where were you between 9 and 11 o'clock last night?
I was home sleeping. My daughter can tell you that.
Go ahead, Hammer. What are you stopping for?
My daughter wasn't home. I just remembered. She was out when I got up to go to work.
And nobody saw you between 9 and 11.
No. Nobody. But I was home, Mr. Garrett. You gotta believe me. And that gun ain't been fired.
If we're wrong, you've got nothing to worry about. Just come along.
You want me to take this gun to ballistics, Chief?
Yes. Have them test fire it to compare the slugs with the ones taken out of the body. If this is the murder weapon, they'll know it.
I tell you, it can't be.
The lab doesn't make mistakes, Hammer. As a matter of fact, if you're telling the truth, there's a little test you can volunteer to take. The Fenelman test.
Well, what's that?
Just a matter of pouring a chemically treated wax on your hand. When they peel it off, it will show traces of nitrate if you fired a gun recently.
I haven't, I tell you.
I heard you. But I'd like to hear it from a police technician, just to be sure. No point in wearing yourself out, Hammer. Might as well sit down.
How can I sit down? What are you keeping me for? You heard what the lab man said. My hands are clean. Was it no nitrate on it?
If we get a negative report on your gun when Harrington comes in, you can go.
Here he is now. All right. Tell him. Tell him so I can get out of here, will you?
What I'm going to tell him isn't going to get you out of here, Hammer. They're the comparative photo blows of the slugs, Chief.
What are you saying?
In plain English, your gun's been identified as the murder weapon, Mr. Hammer.
That's a lie.
You weren't in bed sleeping at 10 o'clock last night. You were cruising around County Line. The stolen car was a woman with you.
That ain't so, Mr. Garrett. I swear it ain't so.
You'd better tell us the truth, Hammer, because we'll check out every statement you make. You go around with a blonde woman?
The only blonde woman I ever went around with was my wife, and she died 6 years ago. That gun was missing from my house last night, then. It must have been. Somebody must have taken it and put it back again.
Oh, sure.
Come outside a minute, Harrington. What's up? I think he's telling the truth.
Oh, gee.
His wife was a blonde.
She's dead.
His daughter isn't.
You mean the girl we saw this morning? She had a dust towel wrapped around her head. Her hair could be any color.
Let's ask him. How old is your daughter, Hammer?
18.
You favor you or your wife?
I think her mother used to be, I guess. What are you asking about her for?
Was she out with you any place last night?
No. She was out on a date.
With who?
How should I know? All I know is she wouldn't get into trouble.
I've heard parents say that same thing in 100 courtrooms.
First you tried to pin this thing on me, now it's my daughter. Are you crazy? She's only a kid!
She's also a blonde, and she also had access to your gun. No ordinary thief would take it away and then return it.
You shoot her and I'll...
Take it easy if you want this arm in one piece.
Let him go, Harrington. Come on, Hammer. We're going out to your house.
Gee. Come here a minute. What? High heel shoes in the closet here. Oil stain up. Little of that garlic smell, too. Oh, I found this in the pocket of the girl's coat. Amusement park picture of her with some boy.
Let me see that picture.
Why, what's the matter?
Don't you remember this boy, Harrington?
Yeah, sure. He's on 34th Street 3 years ago. Chuck Allen. Grand Theft Auto.
My daughter wouldn't go out with anybody like that.
Oh, of course not, Hamlet. She just got a habit of posing for pictures with people she wouldn't go out with.
Almost midnight.
I ought to be going to the aircraft.
Not tonight, Hammer. Put all the lights out, Harrington. We'll wait for Miss Hammer to come home.
Somebody coming down the street, Chief.
I hear him. I don't think it'd work, Hammer. I may come in, so keep quiet. Understand?
Yes.
I can't see nothing, Ruby. How about a light?
You ain't scared long enough to me. You had all you lessons to do.
Well, what do I do now?
What's the good having when it ain't gonna stand us?
Well, can't you wait a while? Hey, you've got a job. I start spending money, people are going to wonder where I got it.
All right. But I ain't waiting. You go out with somebody else. Somebody's got a car every night. And when you say they get one.
Ruby, shut up.
Who's that?
Come here. Let go of that door, Johnson. No,
Who are these guys? What are you home for?
They're after him. The thief.
Quiet, Hammer.
I didn't do nothing. Let me go.
Hold still. Yeah. Quite a roll of bills for a boy who isn't working.
I found it.
Where, Chuck? In a cash register out near the county line after you killed the storekeeper?
So that's why you wanted my father's gun.
What? To tell him, Ruby. If he had my gun, tell him.
That's right. He wanted to borrow it. Just for fun, he said. Then he stole a car and he made me go with him out to county line. I didn't know what he was going to do.
He's lying. I didn't shoot him. She did. She's only a little girl. You can prove he did it, Mr. Garrett. Give him the same test you gave me on his hands. Give it to both of them.
What kind of test?
They pour wax on your hands, honey. You can tell if you fired a gun.
Ruby! Went into Father's bedroom. Bring it in, Harrington.
I can't find it.
If you're looking for your father's gun, you'll see it later, Ruby. Down at police headquarters.
I didn't mean that. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I got scared when you kidnapped me.
Better think that over before you tell it to a jury, Ruby. Or they'll have a hard time figuring how a man got shot in the back. All right, Harrington. Let's get him downtown. This is David Bryan. I hope you enjoyed this case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor.
Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
You probably remember the case very well. Chuck Allenby turned state witness and made a full confession. He is now serving a life term. Ruby Hammer was convicted of murder in the first degree and is serving a life sentence. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord.
This I believe. Mildred H. Maw is superintendent of the Children's Hospital Home of Utica, New York. The home is engaged in the education and treatment of the physically handicapped from birth to 21 and the care of adult polio victims. Her intimate experience with others suffering has sharpened her own sensitivity and sympathetic awareness. Here is Mildred Maw's creed.
In considering my philosophy, 3 questions arise. What do I believe? Why do I believe it? How well do I practice it? One of my fundamental beliefs is that success in life is measured not in material things but in character. And my idea of character is best expressed by St. Paul's statement that the greatest thing in the world is love, which consists of the virtues of patience, kindness, generosity, humility, courtesy, unselfishness. I believe that the purpose of my life should be to strive daily for this type of character, and that there is a supreme power which I can use to aid me in this struggle, if I make way for it by freeing my mind of harmful thoughts. I believe that with these characteristics, everything else falls into place, and one cannot help serving God and man. I also believe with Browning that all service ranks the same with God. Power for good is universal, and is therefore in each one of us, no matter what our abilities may be. I find that these beliefs have come to me through the influence of people I have known and people who have left us a heritage in their writings. In my home I learned that one should strive constantly to improve. My father used to say that there was no one so ignorant or so intellectual that he could not learn something from him. This possibility for influence is very real. I shall never forget a little old Irish maid in the hospital who, when I protested her getting up early Sundays to do part of her work before church, replied, "I should not be worthy of going to Mass if I neglected my duty." Another time, when things were difficult for me, she told me that since she did not know what to pray for, she just asked God to give me whatever I needed. Whether it was direct answer to prayer or the calmer state of mind her faith gave me, the difficulties dissolved. From one friend in particular, and from the physically handicapped patients and employees with whom I work, I have learned that happiness is not dependent on circumstance, but on a state of mind I can control by my habits of thought. From them, as from Browning, I know that the common problem is not to fancy what were fair in life, provided it could be, but finding first what may be, then find how to make it fair up to our means. In this daily struggle to make things fair, one of the most helpful tricks I have evolved is repeating favorite quotations while falling asleep and on awakening. This I learned as a student nurse when I observed that if patients are at peace when they go under anesthesia, they are calm when they come out and recover more rapidly. I find that when I use this trick, it works. That I do not use it more is where I fail, for I firmly believe that in our daily lives of thought, word, and deed, we make our own heaven or hell. After my father's death, I found a small notebook in which he had written only this: "Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the varieties and realities of existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a memory of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. This I believe."
That was Mildred H. Moore of Utica, New York. For the past 10 years, she has been superintendent of the Children's Hospital home there.
Crime does not pay.
For the last time, Murray, you paid?
No. What for? You think a wholesale florist is made out of money? What do you think the margin is in this business?
All right, Gunner. Let's give him a sample.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Violet, Sweet Violet, starring Robert Lowry. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Robert Lowry as Cliff Reed in Violet, Sweet Violet. The wholesale flower market of a large city is synonymous with beauty. The fresh, clean odor of the stacked ferns, the brilliant colors nodding in the store fronts, make you forget for the moment the dingy fronts of loft buildings, the scaly fire escapes, and the shabby alleys of the neighborhood. Such things make you ignore or simply not recognize the presence of young men like Cliff Reed and his friend Gunner Chambers. But in many cases, if you look hard, you'll see them lounging against a store front or a convenient lamppost. They're fairly well dressed in a sharp kind of style. Cigarettes dangle from their lips. Under the snap brims of their hats, narrowed eyes take in the scene as they speak to one another, barely moving their lips in the process.
Hey, Gunner.
I'm listening.
Busy little punks, aren't they?
The truckmen?
All of them, with their pretty little posies.
Yeah. You'd think it was important, selling flowers.
You know, the way these characters run around, you'd think every dame in town was waiting for an orchid.
How's about funerals?
Yeah, sure, those two. Big business. When Limpy Green got his, he had orchids. A blanket.
Yeah, but he couldn't smell them.
Nope. Orchids don't smell.
Roses, though.
It isn't the same.
Well, sure, I know that. Roses is red, orchids is blue.
Purple.
Well, look blue to me.
Now he's colorblind.
Not so blind I can't put a 38 slug in a belly.
The color of the target suit don't make no difference if he's been fingered right.
I don't get it.
Never mind. Forget the whole deal. Let's move.
Yeah, there's something else I don't get.
Only something?
Yeah. Every morning for a week you can get me up at 6. So if we could come down here and case the street real early, what for? You don't like flowers that much.
You know me and violets, Gunner. I'm just crazy over violets.
Quit kidding. What's up?
I figure there ought to be $1 around here.
Going what? Peddling flowers?
Yeah, I've been watching these guys. They open up real early. Then the retailers, the fellas with the stores uptown, they come down here and buy a load of stuff. Boxes of it. They sell it in their own places, see?
All right, don't see. Is why they got to do it so early.
On account of because the retailers got to have the stock. And if they bought it the day before they used it, it wouldn't be fresh anymore.
Hey, you talking flowers or fish?
Save it and listen. I think maybe I got this figured.
Okay.
Why do people buy flowers?
You said you had this figured. Now you ask questions. How should I know?
A cinch. Flowers look nice, and they smell nice.
Yeah, sure, if you go for that kind of
Well,
stuff.
it stands for a reason, then. The flowers that don't look nice and don't smell good, they don't sell. How'd you like to protect the pretty-smelling flowers, Gunner?
Yes, gentlemen. Can I help you?
Maybe, maybe not. We're looking for the Dave Murray who owns this place.
I'm Dave Murray. What's your business?
Our business is your business.
I have no time for slogans.
All right, Gunner. Show 'em what you got.
Sure. Take a look at this, mister.
I don't need any fire extinguishers.
What?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Those glass globes they throw at fires. It does look like one, only it isn't. Care to know what's in that glass globe, Mr. Murray?
Whatever it is, I'm not interested.
Oh, but you are. You see, in that globe is a liquid. Looks like water. That liquid is a combination of hydrogen sulfide and ammonia. Now, you know what ammonia smells like. The other stuff is what you smell in rotten eggs.
I don't see what this has to do with me.
I think you do. One of those on a truckload of flowers, they won't smell very pretty.
Are you threatening me, young man?
No, not at all. Now, Mr. Murray, use your business sense.
No. Out, both of you.
Listen to the character, Cliff. You want I should toss one of these?
No, Gunner, not this trip. There's the other method. Not quite so devastating.
Okay. When do I wreck the joint?
You see, Mr. Murray, an impulsive young man, my friend here.
All true. I'm a busy man.
$10 a week to start. Not bad, is it?
I said out.
I'm only going to ask you once more.
I'll throw you out myself, racketeer.
Hey, take your hands off of me, you stupid.
For the last time, Murray, do you pay?
No. What for? You think a wholesale florist is made of money? What do you think the margin is in this business?
All right, Gunner. Let's give him a sample.
No.
How am I doing, Cliff?
Beautiful. Nice noise. Lovely.
My best roses. Are you boys crazy?
Nah, you are. All right, do you pay? Or do we pick your violets? All right, Gunner.
Oh, brother. What this flower pot ought to do to the glass doors and that ice box.
No. All right. Stop it. I'll pay you.
Looks like we're doing all right, Gunner.
Yeah, what's it take?
500 so far the first week. And all we had to do was show him the bomb and Murray's joint.
What about that fresh bum next door to Murray?
Warren?
Yeah.
I think we'll drop in on him again right now. Let's go.
You two again? I told you before, no deals.
I don't think you're being quite fair, Mr. Warren.
Me? Not fair. Go chase yourself.
I mean it. After all, most of your competitors up and down the street are paying small premiums. Consequently, they've had to raise their prices slightly. You're not paying. Yet. So you haven't raised your prices. Now, that's unfair competition, Mr. Warren.
Because they're dumb and I'm smart?
Well, it might be the other way around, you know. And I'm sure the retail dealers pass the added cost on to the consumer, as the saying goes, who never misses the few cents extra. After all, flowers are a luxury, Mr. Warren.
Pretty speech, but you don't scare me.
You're Murray's neighbor, Warren. You saw what happened to him.
Go on, throw your bomb. Skunks.
But that'd ruin your business. We think you ought to pay, Warren.
I had enough. Now I call the police.
Hey, I think this character means it.
If he does, he'll be very sorry. Well, it'll be nice, Gunner. We'll give him a break. One more day to think it over. Let's go, Gunner. We'll come back tomorrow.
You come back, you'll laugh on the other side of your faces. $10 a week. That crazy I am not. Gangsters I will not support. You come back, you'll regret... Oh, Dave, I'm sorry. For a minute I thought those hoodlums...
I want to talk to you, Joe. Seriously.
Go ahead, talk.
Joe, we've been neighbors in the market a long time. 15 years.
All right, how much do you want to borrow?
No, nothing like that. I want to give you some advice.
So, I'm listening.
I know those two young men, Joe.
This I know.
They mean what they say.
They convinced you?
They wrecked my place. They threw a stench bomb into Jack Kelton's. They threw a truckload of Mort Spelvin's ferns down the sewer. They're dangerous. Worth their $10 a week. That's my advice, Joe.
And when does the 10 become 15 a week?
Pay them, Joe. There's no telling what they'll do.
I pay them. With policemen, I pay them.
All right, Warren. You had your 24 hours. What's the answer?
Exactly as yesterday. Leave my store. Get out.
The price has now gone up to $15 a week. Pay now.
Pay? All right. I'll pay.
Put on that telephone.
You'll be paid. In jail, where you belong.
Take the phone away from him, Gunner.
Jack, don't you try.
Hey, Cliff, why is it all? Right out of the war.
Good for nothing, young hoodlums.
Gunner, did you come prepared?
Oh, sure thing. Which first?
I think the brass knuckles will be effective. At first.
I don't try to run, Warren. You're gonna get it for good.
No, don't dare touch me.
Shut up.
Hey, he's not much. He bleeds pretty.
Don't.
All right, Gunner. He's a nice mess. The doctor bill will be at least 25. He could have saved that much.
Leave him there?
Oh, you know I wouldn't want to distress him with the odor, which will shortly fill this place. Dump him in the icebox, Gunner.
No. I'll suffocate. No.
Nice work, Gunner. Smells nice in here, doesn't it? All right, Gunner. Drop it.
Check.
Well, let's get out of here, but quick, Gunner. I wouldn't ask a dog to smell that stink. But I have a hunch Joe Warren will pay when he gets out of the icebox and the hospital.
just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Violet, Sweet Violet. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Robert Lowry as Cliff Reed in Violet, Sweet Violet. Dave Murray found Joe Warren in the refrigerator among the smashed vases and crushed flowers in time to get him to a hospital, in time to save his life, but not to soften Joe's stubbornness. He would not pay off to Cliff and Gunner. Come fire, theft, or death, he would not pay for the privilege of running his business. And when he came back to the flower market, scarred but unyielding, another voice was added to Dave Murray's in his ears. Joe Warren had a wife. Her name was Martha.
Joe, while you were in the hospital and I was trying to keep the business going, those two boys came in again.
If they touched you, I'll kill them.
Oh, no, nothing like that. They're too smart for that.
Hoodlums. What did they want? Money?
Yes, money.
And you gave it to them?
I gave it to them. You were hurt, Joe. You almost died. And for what? A few dollars a week that you can add on the prices.
And my retailers added to theirs? So some kid who wants an orchid for her high school dance more than anything else, she has to wear a gardenia.
Oh, I never saw it that way.
No, nobody sees it that way. If more people would see it that way, these hoodlums would go to jail where they belong.
Nobody will be a witness. Everybody's afraid.
I'm not. Why do you tell me this today, Martha? Oh, they're coming back for another payment.
Yes. Go home, Joe. Let me see them.
No, this I will not do.
You won't be hiding behind my skirt.
Martha, don't you know what I'm talking about?
Of course I do. This Reed and Chambers.
No, not them. I am talking about a business my father had before me. A business that lets people have a few flowers, maybe a few cents cheaper than somebody else. This business I will not change. I will not change it. I will give it up first.
Joe, what else can you do?
Well, sell newspapers, maybe. A little candy store, maybe. We buy a store. Dave Murray has wanted to buy me out a long time. He wants to break through from next door, expand, pay more money to racketeers. All right, I'll let him.
Joe, you wouldn't.
Wouldn't I? Watch me, Martha. Watch me.
Murray, florist?
Dave, Joe Warren.
Joe, I thought you'd be back today.
I am.
And you didn't stop in to say hello, Joe.
I'm not saying hello. I'm saying goodbye.
I don't get it, Joe.
You want to buy my business?
Well, I used to kid about it, but...
Do you want to buy it?
I never thought you'd quit.
If you want to buy it, name your price. I will not pay hoodlums so I can run my father's business. Come over, Dave. We'll close a deal right away. Yeah, come in again, Mrs. Madison. Thank you.
A nice woman, that Mrs. Madison. Good neighbor.
Yes. Martha, these people, they buy a newspaper, half a pint of ice cream, a little candy, a notebook for the kid. Nice people. Plain, honest.
You like this business, don't you, Joe?
Something a little new. Martha, there's an investigation starting.
Investigation? Again? What is it this time? Politicians?
Rackets. Shakedowns. All kinds.
Oh, well, maybe someday you'll buy the business back from Dave Murray.
If he'll sell. Oh, we don't talk about that.
All right, dear. Well, I'll be in back fixing supper.
Mm-hmm.
At least in this business, I see more of you than ever.
Jelly beans. 10 for a penny. No, we fixed that. 18 for a penny. Like when Martha and I were... Yes? Oh. What do you want?
Just a little talk is all, Warren. A little talk.
I have nothing to talk to you about.
That's what Dave Murray said when we asked him for your address. He gave it to us. Of course, we had to persuade him. A couple of kicks in the ribs, and he told us. Politely.
You crawl out of rocks. What do you want?
It'll cost you less, Warren, if you're a little more polite.
What do you want?
We want to be sure your mouth is shut.
What are you talking about?
I guess a man doesn't read his own papers, huh, Gunner?
Yeah, sure looks that way. Here, monkey.
I see. Investigation. What does this have to do with me?
The DA's men were looking for you today. It seems they heard about you selling out to Murray.
Yeah. We're making sure you don't know nothing.
The big boys decided. No witnesses. See?
The district attorney asks me. I'll tell him.
You're kidding.
I don't kid. With men like you, I tell the truth, always.
He's nuts. Or he's stupid. Which, Cliff?
Maybe only stubborn. Want to find out?
I know your kind. So I keep this behind the counter.
You want I should take it away from him, Cliff?
With or without a baseball bat, he ain't so much.
Well, Cliff, you want me?
Why not? Oh, hold it. See how much damage you can do to the store while you're at it.
One step closer and I'll beat your brains out.
Says you.
Oh, no. Great. Get the other counter now, Gunner. Get it.
You?
I'll beat you. Break every bone.
Give me that bat. Now you get it.
Gun.
Hey, will you? Hit me.
Okay, got it. Hold it.
You ain't had enough yet. Let me at him.
You crazy jerk. He ain't feeling nothing. He's dead. Let's get out of here.
I was out on back, Joe. I thought I heard some glass break. Joe. Oh, Joe.
Now then, Mrs. Warren, you think you can talk to me?
Now?
Hello.
Must I now?
Well, there's no must involved, Mrs. Warren. I understand your husband was a wholesale florist at one time.
All his life. Then he refused to pay. He sold out. We came here. What did they want? Why did they come?
It's probably the new investigation. A man like your husband is always dangerous to them. He talks.
He must have felt something. He showed me the newspaper.
Probably.
Lieutenant.
Yes, Sampson?
We dusted the bats. Prints all smudged. They're no good to us. The old boy must have put up quite a battle.
Yes, it looks that way. Maybe you can help us now, Mrs. Warren.
It was my fault. I should have called you when they beat him up the first time in the flower market.
Yes, you should have. Who were they, Mrs. Warren?
2 young men. One is Reed, Cliff Reed. The other is Chambers.
Called Gunner.
Yeah, that's right.
Why do you fix on them, Mrs. Warren?
Who else would kill Joe? Who would want to? Joe was the only one in the market who wouldn't pay. Everyone else was frightened of the stench bombs and the beatings. Only Joe fought back. As long as he could.
All right, Mrs. Warren. I think we may be able to do something if you'll work with us. Will you?
Will I work with you? Lieutenant Parks, is there anything else left for me to do?
along, Reed. This isn't any sightseeing tour.
It's the first time I've ever been in a precinct house. Not very luxurious, is it?
It serves. It's a lot better up here than the detention pen downstairs.
You don't expect me to see the inside of that, do you?
That's the lieutenant's business. Lieutenant Parks. All right, he's in here.
Come in, Sampson, with Reed.
Yes, sir. You heard the lieutenant, Reed, inside.
Oh, yes, sir.
Get in, punk.
Don't bother to sit down, Reed.
Not very hospitable, are you, Lieutenant?
Any reason I should be?
I'm a taxpayer.
Are you now?
And I got friends. You want to stay in this precinct all your life?
I'm working for the district attorney now.
Oh, one of those.
Yes, one of those. Reed, we have reason to believe that you've been shaking down a flower market. We think you followed up the one man who refused to pay off.
How do you live with all those nasty thoughts, Lieutenant?
Quite nicely, thank you. You want to confirm any of them?
Are you nuts, Lieutenant? Even if I could. Would I?
Oh, one never knows who'll get a talking jag on next. Does one?
I'm no good at riddles.
Bring her in, Sampson.
Yes, sir. Will you come in, please, ma'am?
Yes. Go on.
You know this man, Mrs. Warren?
I'd know him anywhere. He came to me while Joe was in the hospital. Said I had to pay him, or Joe would be hurt again. I'd like to see him in the electric chair.
Hey, what is this act, anyway? I never saw this woman before in my life.
All right, Sampson.
Yes, sir, Lieutenant. All right, dump him in here, fellas.
Okay, I'm going.
All right, Chambers. This the man you worked for?
What is it? What is this, a frame?
No, a chair, and you're sitting in it. Chambers, speak up. Or do you want that particular seat, too?
Oh, I don't want to fry, Lieutenant.
Gonna.
They said I could get life if I talk, so I talked. I told them, well, if you talk to, you'll get to live. You get to live.
You stinking lousy...
I'll let you have it. Don't move, Reed. Don't move a muscle, or I'll let Sampson give it to you in the belly right now. All right, Sampson. Dump Chambers back in the tank. Then come back here. We're going to have a real interesting session with this lovely specimen. I've got a hunch he'll talk. This kind always does.
Crime does not pay. Robert Lowry, who starred as Cliff Reed in Violet's Sweet Violets, will be back with you in just a moment.
This I believe. Mildred H. Maw is superintendent of the Children's Hospital Home of Utica, New York. The home is engaged in the education and treatment of the physically handicapped from birth to 21 and the care of adult polio victims. Her intimate experience with others suffering has sharpened her own sensitivity and sympathetic awareness. Here is Mildred Maw's creed.
In considering my philosophy, 3 questions arise. What do I believe? Why do I believe it? How well do I practice it? One of my fundamental beliefs is that success in life is measured not in material things but in character. And my idea of character is best expressed by St. Paul's statement that the greatest thing in the world is love, which consists of the virtues of patience, kindness, generosity, humility, courtesy, unselfishness. I believe that the purpose of my life should be to strive daily for this type of character, and that there is a supreme power which I can use to aid me in this struggle, if I make way for it by freeing my mind of harmful thoughts. I believe that with these characteristics, everything else falls into place, and one cannot help serving God and man. I also believe with Browning that all service ranks the same with God. Power for good is universal, and is therefore in each one of us, no matter what our abilities may be. I find that these beliefs have come to me through the influence of people I have known and people who have left us a heritage in their writings. In my home I learned that one should strive constantly to improve. My father used to say that there was no one so ignorant or so intellectual that he could not learn something from him. This possibility for influence is very real. I shall never forget a little old Irish maid in the hospital who, when I protested her getting up early Sundays to do part of her work before church, replied, "I should not be worthy of going to Mass if I neglected my duty." Another time, when things were difficult for me, she told me that since she did not know what to pray for, she just asked God to give me whatever I needed. Whether it was direct answer to prayer or the calmer state of mind her faith gave me, the difficulties dissolved. From one friend in particular, and from the physically handicapped patients and employees with whom I work, I have learned that happiness is not dependent on circumstance, but on a state of mind that I can control by my habits of thought. From them, as from Browning, I know that the common problem is not to fancy what were fair in life, provided it could be, but finding first what may be, then find how to make it fair up to our means. In this daily struggle to make things fair, one of the most helpful tricks I have evolved is repeating favorite quotations while falling asleep and on awakening. This I learned as a student nurse when I observed that if patients are at peace when they go under anesthesia, they are calm when they come out and recover more rapidly. I find that when I use this trick, it works. That I do not use it more is where I fail, for I firmly believe that in our daily lives of thought, word, and deed, we make our own heaven or hell. After my father's death, I found a small notebook in which he had written only this: "Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the varieties and realities of existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a memory of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. This I believe."
That was Mildred H. Moore of Utica, New York. For the past 10 years, she has been superintendent of the Children's Hospital Home there.
Calling all detectives. A sample of pure iridium, a bear cub, and a check for $1 million. Those are the exhibits on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. Every once in a while, a private detective like me, Jerry Browning, gets a case that stops him cold.
Sleigh bells, Mr. Browning, sleigh bells. I carry them with me always. They are symbolic of the snow, the cold, beautiful, inscrutable snow.
That was my introduction to J. Parkington Wamhurst. He was wearing a parka and a fur-lined jacket and seemed completely comfortable, in spite of the fact that it was a warm Indian summer day. Whack or not, J. Parkington Wamhurst was one of the 3 richest men in town. So I nodded wisely as he said,
"All my life, Mr. Browning, I have been intrigued by the mystery of the white wastes of the polar regions. Would that I could have been an intrepid adventurer. But no, I must stay here, the slave to an inherited fortune. My grandfather, William Worthington Wamhurst, was the patent medicine king."
You didn't have to tell me. That old-time medicine man's wealth was very solid stuff. Proof even against the Sharpies, who were always trying to help his descendants get rid of it.
Mr. Browning, 2 years ago I backed an expedition to the Antarctic. It was my vicarious voyage. I couldn't resist it, even though my attorneys told me I was simply throwing the money away.
How much did you put up? Who was in charge of the expedition?
I invested $70,000. Johnny Howard was the expedition leader. He arrived back in town yesterday, alone. He'd had a most successful trip.
He did, eh? Well, how come there was nothing about it in the papers? Wamhurst leaned close to me, reached in his pocket, dropped something on my desk. It was a blob of dull, silvery metal.
We have deliberately kept his return a secret, Mr. Browning, and that object is the reason. Johnny Howard tells me it is iridium, an extremely rare and valuable metal. He claims he has discovered an enormous field of it in the Antarctic, wants me to invest $1 million for the development of that field. Mr. Browning, I want you to prove or disprove the genuineness of his story, even if you have to go to the South Pole to do it.
An eccentric client with $1 million to spend on an expedition told me to investigate it even if I had to go to the Antarctic. Instead, I went to the Acme laboratory and hung around watching the technicians put the metal through a bunch of tests. This is iridium, all right, Mr. Browning. That hunk of metal is worth plenty. The stuff's like platinum, only better because it's harder and heavier. Incidentally, it's so pure, I think it's been refined. I brought the Acme lab report to my client, J. Parkington Wamhurst. Found him out on the sun deck of his 40-room house. This time he was wearing slacks and a pair of Eskimo mucklucks and playing with a fuzzy polar bear cub. The cub was cute and kittenish. Wamhurst fondled it gently while he read the report.
How do you like him, Mr. Browning? I call him Howie in honor of the donor. Iridium wasn't the only valuable thing Johnny Howard brought back from the South Pole. Made me a present of this cub, too. Wasn't that generous of him?
Well, considering that Howard had taken Wamhurst for $70,000 and was after another $1 million, I figured he could afford to be generous. But I didn't say so. Instead, the lab reports that the stuff is iridium, all right, Mr. Wamhurst, but suspiciously pure. Wamhurst nodded absently.
Imagine a field of pure iridium. Well, Mr. Browning, you've given fast, satisfactory service. Just send me your bill.
Send you my... Hey, wait a minute. I've just begun this investigation.
Oh, no, you're finished. I am now completely convinced of Johnny's reliability.
How do you like that? Give a guy a cuddly bear cub and get the combination to his safe in return. I pleaded with Wamhurst, argued, got abusive, and finally, okay, Mr. Wamhurst, if you say I'm through, I'm through. But I would like a chance to meet a big-time explorer like Howard. Can you arrange it?
Why, certainly. He's staying right here with me. You can meet him at once. But please don't offend him.
We left the bear cub snoozing in the sun. In a very handsome suite on the second floor of the house, I was introduced to Johnny Howard, a handsome hunk of man. He was a good 6'3", and his face had the rugged, leathery look that comes only from being out in the elements. Or under a strong sun lamp. Glad to meet you, Browning. You're an explorer also, eh? Digging out crime, unearthing murders, and all that sort of thing? The vigilance that never sleeps. Say, you ought to come back with me to the South Pole. You could get a lot done in the course of a day, because our days are 6 months long. I didn't like his laugh, and I didn't like his rover boy personality. What's more, I didn't go for that stuff about the long days and nights of the Antarctic. Every school kid knows that. I wondered why Johnny Howard thought it necessary to drag this fact into the conversation. And then I wondered about something else. A vague something, not even a memory I could focus on. It was more like the memory of a memory. I left the Wamhurst mansion, drove to the library. I got a book about polar explorations. I found out that the South Pole is at latitude 60, its elevation 10,200 feet, its temperature 70 below in winter. I couldn't picture Johnny Howard in that. Then I had it. I'd captured that missing memory. I left the library. In front of the bear cages at the city zoo, the head keeper answered my question simply by pointing at a descriptive placard. I dashed back to the Wamhurst mansion just in time to see my ex-client hand a check to Johnny Howard. I made a grab for it. Howard, you're a fake and a phony. And you'd better start figuring out how you're going to pay back that $70,000 you got from Wamhurst on false pretenses. That's all there was to it. Howard gave up without a murmur. Not the $70,000. He'd spent that long ago. What he surrendered was the hopes of another $1 million. Wamhurst wouldn't prosecute, said he'd chalk it all up to experience, because he was the kind of fool who'd learn in no other school. Yeah, Howard admitted he took Wamhurst's money, went to South America for a couple of years, and when he was ready to make the big killing, showed up again with a purchased sample of iridium and a polar bear cub he'd got from a farm in Minnesota. He should have planned his background more carefully. I found out at the zoo that polar bears live only at the North Pole. In fact, the South Pole has no land animals of any kind. Like I said, when somebody offers you a deal, there's only one way to be sure you won't be left out in the cold. And that's before you invest. Investigate. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
Murder at midnight.
You're lying, Donna. You know you're lying. And you know it won't do you any good. Because this time I'm going to pass judgment. Myself. 15 years. I've been thinking about this. Dreaming about it. My fingers around your throat. Digging into that flabby windpipe of yours. Tighter. And tighter. Till you stop struggling and... Yes. And now, I've got a nice grave all ready and waiting for you. Right next to your friend.
Murder at midnight.
3 graves yawning on a lonely, fog-bound island, waiting. For whom? You'll learn the answer in just a moment in tonight's story, The Island of the Dead. And now our story, The Island of the Dead, an original radio play by one of radio's best-known mystery writers, Robert Newman. The story of a dead man who came back. It's a small island, flat and barren, lying in the middle of the river. And it's truly an island of the dead. For it's the city's Potter's Field. It's here that the nameless dead are buried. Those who have no relatives to claim them, and those who are too poor to pay for burial elsewhere. At one end of the island is the pier, where the city launch docks. At the other end of the island, in the midst of the shallow graves, is the squat stone building where the watchman lives. It's 11:30 at night now, and he's sitting in the office, reading a paper and listening to the river sounds when...
Who's there? Who's that? I said, who's there? Who the devil are you? What do you want?
I think that this is where I'm supposed to come.
What do you mean? Hey, wait a minute. Are you the new relief man?
My name is Simon.
I'm Halliday. From now on, lay off that stuff, will you? This place is bad enough without you spooking around, not answering when someone talks to you.
Bad?
The crying bells, you know what the job is, don't you? Receiving the stiffs that they send out, keeping the records and digging the graves. You'd be all alone, except for Joe, the guy that runs the launch up at the other end of the island. He only comes out when he has to.
Yes, I know.
Well, I'll go change my shirt and blow. I didn't think they're going to be able to get a relief man until next week. I'm sure glad you got out here tonight. This place was really starting to get me down. Well, I'll be out in a couple of minutes.
Simon, where are you?
Over here.
I didn't know where the places you'd gone, Simon. What in thunder are you doing?
Digging. Digging some graves.
Yeah, I see that. 3 of them. What for?
Because they'll be needed before the night is over.
Huh? You mean they called up and told you to get them ready? It's funny. I didn't hear the phone.
No. No one phoned.
Well, then what are you doing?
I told you. I think they'll be needed.
You think? Look, I'm going right now. I'll be back tomorrow night. Unless I decide not to come back at all.
Wait a minute, Harry. I don't get it. Who are you talking about? And when did I see him?
The new relief man just came out about a half hour ago. You must have seen him. This is the only way you can get out to the island.
That's why I don't get it. If anybody did come out to the island, I'd be bound to see him. But no one did. Not tonight.
What? What do you mean?
I mean, I only made one trip out tonight. I didn't have no passengers. At least not live ones. All I brought out was a stiff.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes, speaking.
Is this Mr. Alec Marsh, the attorney?
Attorney? Well, I used to be one. I haven't practiced law in over 10 years. Who's this?
This is the watchman at the city cemetery out on Channel Island. I'd appreciate it very much if you'd come out here immediately.
Come out there? In the middle of the night? What for?
To identify a body.
To what? What makes you think that I can identify it?
I have reason to believe that you are one of the few people who can identify it. It's quite urgent. If you take the launch at River Street, I'll meet you at this end. Will you do it?
Well, I don't know. It's a funny business, but... Well, all right. I'll leave right away.
Is it much further to the island?
Nope. You can't see it because of the fog, but it's just right ahead there.
Is this something new? Getting people to go out to the island to identify bodies? Don't they usually do it down at the morgue?
Yeah, mostly, but once in a while I get some dope after the body's been shipped out to the island.
Oh. Well, I don't like it, any part of it. Getting a man out in the middle of the night. This trip, especially with a river like this. Not being able to see anything. Just the whistles and the foghorns. And then landing there on the island where... Oh, for 2 cents I'd go right back with you. Not go ashore at all.
Well, here we are. Just let me make a fast. Okay. Well, we getting off?
I don't know. I'll tell you what. The man that phoned said he'd meet me. I'll go up to the end of the dock. If he's not there, I'll come back.
Okay.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes? Was it you who phoned me?
Yes. Will you follow me, please? This way.
How the dickens can you see where you're going when it's so dark?
You get used to it. Just as you get used to anything. As a matter of fact, it's probably just as well. It is so dark.
Why? It couldn't be worse even in daylight, when you can see the graves. But how did you happen to call me on this business anyway?
I told you. Because you're one of the very few people who can be of any help. Weren't you the attorney for the defense in the Sloan case?
Sloan? Sloan? I can't remember. Simon Sloan.
Yes.
I'm not sure. If I was, it was a long time ago.
More than 15 years. But you should remember.
Yes, I think I was. He was convicted on a charge of murder in the 2nd degree and got 20 years. With time off for good behavior, he's probably out now and... Wait a minute. Is that who you want me to identify? Is he dead?
Here we are. Watch the step going in.
Well, what are you waiting for? Aren't you going to put on the light?
No, not yet.
Oh, what was that? The door. You locked the door. What's the idea? What are you trying to do?
That's just so we won't be disturbed.
Disturbed? Well, who's going to disturb us? I insist you put on the light. Open that door immediately.
We were talking about the Sloan case. You admitted that you were the attorney for the defense. Do you feel that you did a good job of defending him?
How do I know? How do you expect me to remember? The fact that he was convicted doesn't mean that it was my fault. Besides, what's that got to do with you?
Did you think that he was guilty?
How do I know what I thought? What difference does it make? He pleaded guilty.
He wasn't guilty. He didn't want to plead guilty. Who made him change his plea?
I did, so what?
Very well. There.
Where is... You. It's you. You're Simon Sloan.
A dead man on the island of the dead. 3 waiting graves. As the clock moves steadily towards the witching hour, prepare yourself for murder at midnight. Now, to go on with the story of the island of the dead. It's just a moment later. There is silence in a small, bare room as Marsh stares at the strange figure that stands opposite him. And slowly, his face pale and drawn, sinks into a chair.
You shouldn't have done this to me. I told you I'm not well. I've got a bad heart.
Why did you do what you did to me? Why did you make me change my plea to guilty?
I had to.
Why?
Because Donna, the district attorney, made me. He wanted the conviction to build up his record. And he had something on me. An attempted bribery in another case. What are you going to do to me? I've got to get away from here. I'm a sick man, I tell you.
I'm not going to do anything to you. You can go now, if you can. There. The door's open.
Why are you looking at me like that? You think I can't make it, don't you? And that's why you're letting me go. Well, I'll show you. I just have to take it easy and...
No, I didn't think you would make it. That is why I'm not angry at you. Now I have a place for you. Right outside here. For you. And for some others, too.
Hello?
Mr. Donner?
Yes, who's this?
This is the watchman at the city cemetery out on Channel Island. We have a body out here that we'd very much like you to look at.
A body? What for?
We think that possibly you may be able to identify it.
And what makes you think that?
Well, after all, you were district attorney for several years.
What? Why, I haven't been DA for... What's that got to do with it?
It may have a great deal to do with it. Will you come? The launch leaves from the foot of River Street.
Yes, I know. Something very strange about this, but... All right, I'll come. Will there be someone to meet me at the other end?
Yes, Mr. Donner. I'll meet you. I'll be waiting for you.
someone try and identify a body when it's already in the grave?
Well, no, it's very unusual. But this was a rather special case. I'm sorry I haven't any flashlight, but I do have a candle. There.
Good Lord.
Then you do know him?
Yes, I know him. His name is Marsh, Alec Marsh. He was just born about 10 years ago. When did he die?
About an hour ago.
But that's impossible. He couldn't have gotten here so quickly.
Not if he was dead. But when he came here, he was still alive.
I don't understand. Why should he have come out here in the first place?
Well, because I phoned him. I asked him to come out. Just as I asked you to come out. You see, I wanted to talk to him about this Simon Sloan case.
The Sloan case? But what? How? Wait a minute. Lift that candle up. You're Sloan.
Yes, Donna. I'm Sloan. What's left of him after 15 years in jail. You're the man who sent me there when you knew I wasn't guilty.
You can't blame me for that. After all, it was my job to prosecute. And when I did find out the truth...
You did find it out, eh?
When I did, it was too late. You'd already been convicted and sent up, and I've got to get away from here. Let me go.
No, Donna. Not yet. There are a few more things you're going to tell me first. How did you find out I wasn't guilty?
The detective in the case told me. A chap named Richards. Bill Richards.
Richards? Yes, it would be Richards. But afterwards, when you found out the truth, you could have ordered a new trial and gotten me out. But you didn't. You let me stay there and rot.
No, I couldn't. It was just Richards' word. He said he wouldn't testify.
You're lying, Donna. You know you're lying. You know it won't do you any good. Because this time I'm going to pass judgment. Myself. 15 years. I've been thinking about this. Dreaming about it. My fingers around your throat. Digging into that flabby windpipe of yours. Tighter. And tighter. Until you stop struggling and... Yes. Now I've got a nice grave. All ready and waiting for you. Over here, right next to Marsh. And one more. For our friend Richard.
Guess we'll leave it out?
Yes. Now, you wait right here for us, Joe.
Seeing as it's you, Hardy, I will. We sure have had my belly full. What a night.
Well, look who's talking. Me, I've got to go traipsing all over this bloody island just because your friend here comes into the station house with a story nobody will believe except the captain.
We're crying bells, Richards. You think I made it up? What about those two other guys Joe said he brought out here? What about those 3 graves this guy Simon was digging?
Well, where are they? Did you dream them up, too?
I didn't dream anything up, Richards. They're right over here.
They do look like graves. I got a match here someplace. Let's take a look at them. Good.
Good Lord. There's a body in this one. And then this one here, too.
I see them. This one here looks like... What is Marsh? Alec Marsh. And that's John Donner.
Now am I crazy? Now was I making things up?
Shut up. This guy that came out here. You said his name was Simon?
Yes.
Was he, let's see. He must be about 55 now. Probably looks older. Tall, thin face, gray hair.
That's right, that's him. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know him. Look, I was ribbing you before, but that man's dangerous. Killer. I'm going to stay here and try and find him. They'll probably need help. You and Joe take the launch back to shore, get hold of the captain, and have him send out 3 or 4 more men. Fast.
Okay, Richards, right away.
Sloan! Sloan! Where are you? I know it's you. And you know you can't get away. That building. Went in there, huh? Wonder if he's got a gun. Yeah, soon see. Stick him up, Sloan. I'll let you have it. Reach, you hear me?
Yes, Richard. I hear you.
Put on the light.
There isn't any light in here. But I've got a candle. Just a second.
So, it really is you. I heard you were out of stir, and I was sure it was as soon as I saw Marsh and Donner out there. You killed them, didn't you?
Yes, I killed them.
This is really funny. I'd like to hear someone now say there isn't such a thing as fate.
Yes, it is funny. I tried to get you on the phone just the way I did Marsh and Donner. But of course I couldn't. Then you come out here on your own.
You thought you'd get me too, huh? Well, that's okay. I tried to get you, and I would have if that jury hadn't gone so panty-waist and given you just 20 years. You know that it was me that framed you, don't you?
Yes, I know it. I just don't know why.
Why? Because I've always hated you, that's why. I was just a flatfoot and you were a gambler pulling in big dough. I never could touch you on the level. That's why I hated you. That's why I framed you. Well, I didn't get you then 15 years ago. But I've got you now.
Have you, Richards? I guess maybe you ought to look around. See where we are.
Huh? What do you mean?
We're in the room where they keep the stiffs until they're buried. Kind of an icebox. And if you'll notice, there's no handle on this side of the door. That means there's no way of getting out.
What? Why, you... So what? Someone will be along sooner or later.
Oh, when anyone does, it'll be too late. Because that door is airtight. That means that as soon as we use up the air that's in here now, we're finished. Both of us. And it's starting to get bad already. Feel it?
I mean, you trapped me. You got me in it deliberately. Well, you won't get away with this.
No good, Richards. That won't hurt me. Not any more than I'm hurt already. You see, I'm all gone inside. That's why they released me. I must have passed out in the street last night, and my heart was so bad that they thought I was dead. They sent me out here for burial. But I wasn't dead. I couldn't die until I evened things up. In the boat, they waited till they put me ashore. Now I've done it. Gotten all three of you.
No. No. There must be some way out. The smoke. I can't breathe.
No, Richards. Still works every minute. There's no way out. That candle. That's our lives, see? When that goes out, we're finished. And it's starting to flicker. Turn blue already.
Help. Help. Somebody, please.
There's no help, Richards. This is it. There. The candle's gone out. You might just as well lie down and take it quietly, like me. Well, there's just one thing. One little thing. You see, I only dug 3 graves. Wanted 3 of you. Now, someone else will have to dig mine.
two gasping bodies drop to the floor. The mission of Simon Sloan is completed. First, Marsh, then Donner, and finally Richards succumb to
murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death stalks the wicked as the clocks strike 12 for
murder at midnight.
This I believe. Milton R. Convitz is a lawyer, philosopher, teacher, and author. He is professor of industrial and labor relations at Cornell University and is presently engaged in directing the preparation of a new code of laws for the African Republic of Liberia, a Point 4 project. An authority on civil liberties, he is the author of several important books in this field. Now, Milton Convitz states his creed.
To live with an awareness of the tears of things, of the participation of all living things in a fellowship of pain, insecurity, anxiety, and death, to live with a bittersweet knowledge that I and all companionable living things are formed out of the same dust of the earth, and after a night and a day will return to the common dust. In this is the beginning of wisdom. To feel a steadfast love at the sight of a living creature, an almost unbearable pity for all things that are born and suffer and die. In this is the love of God. To believe that the primary condition of man is to be free to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That man is free to choose, though falteringly, to continue God's creation of the good, the true, and the beautiful. That man is and becomes what he thinks and feels and hopes and does. That man can strive to fashion the city of man into the city of God, or into a Sodom or a Gomorrah. In this is the law of compensation. With St. Francis of Assisi, to praise the Lord for our brother the sun and our sister the moon, and for the stars and the wind and water and fire, and our mother the earth, and for those who pardon one another, and for our sister the death of the body. With Socrates, to pray for beauty in the inward soul, and that the outward and inward man be at one, to reckon the wise to be the wealthy, and to have such a quantity of gold that only the temperate man can bear and carry. With Ecclesiastes, to eat bread in gladness, and drink wine with joy, and to live joyfully with whom one loves. To love the creativity of one's work and the recreativity of rest and fun, and to be at once serene and magnanimous. This I believe, So to live is to wrestle with one's angel and to say to him, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So to live is both to confirm and to deny the vanity of vanities which is the portion of a man's life. So to live is to know that while the voice of the bird startles, and all the daughters of music have been brought low, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners goeth about the streets, yet the morning stars sing together, and the sons of God, even you and I, shout for joy.
That was Professor Milton R. Convitz, a lawyer, philosopher, author, and authority on civil liberties. He lives and teaches in Ithaca, New York.
New post-war Old Dutch cleanser, famous for chasing dirt, presents Nick Carter, famous for chasing crime. Every week at this time, two great names are joined as new post-war Old Dutch cleanser brings you one of the most resourceful and daring characters in all detective fiction, Nick Carter, Master Detective.
Patsy, this case has been solved.
How, Nick?
By a talking typewriter.
But did you say a talking typewriter?
Yes, Patsy, I did. What's more, this typewriter talked about murder.
Ladies, when you're pressed for time these busy days before New Year's, simply do this. Use new post-war Old Dutch cleanser made with activated seismotite in all your cleaning. Notice how amazingly fast new post-war Old Dutch cuts grease. Wonder at its new miracle-like speed as activated seismotite cleans away dirt and stains in hard or soft water. Thrill to a new, almost effortless ease in cleaning with new post-war Old Dutch. Thanks to activated seismotite, it cleans, polishes with a smooth, gliding action that means less work, less rubbing. So tomorrow morning, get 2 packages of new post-war Old Dutch cleanser made with activated seismotite. See for yourself if it doesn't clean faster and easier than any cleanser you've ever used. Now for the case of the missing street. Today's adventure starring Lon Clark as Nick Carter, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch cleanser. A pretty girl named Jean White rushes up the rickety stairs of an ancient office building in the older part of town. She pushes open the door marked Wallace White, Contractor, and enters.
Wally! Wally, I'm here.
Oh, come in, sis, come in. There. Take a look at this.
Take a look at what? My gosh, when you phoned me to rush over, it sounds as if you'd finally got a contract.
I have, Jean, I have. I'm sure of it.
Oh, Wally, after all these months, I can't believe it.
Oh, so you didn't think Wallace White Private First Class could turn into Wallace White Contractor, eh? Well, here's my first job, sis.
Oh, that's great.
The Cosmopolis Company's building a 10-story garage down on the northwest corner of 9th Avenue and 9th Street. Here's the architect's set of blueprints.
But how did you get them?
Well, they asked me to submit a bid, so I sent for them, and I submitted a bid that's got to be the lowest. I can't lose.
Oh, Wally, that's wonderful. Hey, wait a minute. Since when are they tearing down the movie house?
What movie house?
The one on the northwest corner of 9th Avenue and 9th Street.
Oh, you're crazy. There isn't a movie house there. That's an empty lot.
Oh, no, it isn't. Remember, I lived in Greenwich Village when I first came to town, when I roomed with Patsy Bowen.
The girl who works for Nick Carter?
Yeah, that's right. And there's a movie house right where this garage is supposed to go up. I know that.
Now, wait a minute. I know the village, too. It's a vacant lot.
It is not. The vacant lot is at 10th Street.
The movie house is at 10th Street.
All right, wise guy. Come on down to the village and I'll prove you're wrong.
Well, this is 9th Avenue and 10th Street. And there's the movie house on the corner, just as I said.
Golly, I could have sworn. Wait a minute, Wally. We're both right. There's the vacant lot across the street, also at 9th Avenue and 10th. Golly, the village is so twisted and mixed up, you can't ever remember anything about...
Jean, hold it.
What's the matter?
There's something fishy here.
Fishy?
Yeah. There isn't any intersection of 9th Avenue and 9th Street.
What?
Well, take a look for yourself. The avenue runs into the village square and ends. But 9th Street is below the square. It doesn't even come close to the avenue.
But the blueprint says...
Yeah. It says that a garage is going to be built on imaginary land. But there just isn't any such street corner.
I don't understand, Wally. Is this some kind of a gag or something?
Well, if it is, I don't like it. I paid a $50 deposit to the Cosmopolis Company on these blueprints.
Do you think something is crooked, Wally?
It sure looks that way.
But, Wally...
Hey, Jean, do you think Patsy Bowen could get us in to see Nick Carter? Even if it's a case involving only $50.
Gee, I don't know. We could try.
Okay, then, let's try. We got to get help from somebody.
In the first place, Mr. White, there's no such thing as a case too small for me to investigate. Understand that?
But I can't pay him, Mr. Carter.
You see, Wally hasn't earned much money since he's been out of the Army. He's trying to get started in the contracting business.
Miss White, I don't charge folks I want to help if they can't afford to pay.
Oh, Mr. Carter, you're... Excuse me, but I've got to do this. Hey! What's the idea of kissing my boss? There.
Miss White.
I just had to show you my gratitude.
Well, we'll enter that on a new file card marked Wallace. Fee, 1 kiss, paid in advance. And that's a fee it'll be a pleasure to earn.
That is what I call an ambiguous crack.
All right, then. Suppose we skip it. You know, White, if the Cosmopolis Company's in the racket I think it is, it'll be a pleasure to smash it.
What racket do you think that is, Mr. Carter?
Well, I figure they've sent out blueprints to contractors all over this part of the country. And those blueprints are for buildings no one ever intends to build.
But I paid a $50 deposit for those plans.
And the crooks you paid your money to have no intention of returning it.
Why, those dirty...
They don't care what you do with the blueprints. Cost them only a few cents. You multiply $50 by a couple of hundred gullible contractors, and you have quite a racket. A racket which is repeated in city after city.
Well, Nick, what are you going to do about it?
First thing, Patsy, is that we're going down to the mailing address of the Cosmopolis Company. If they're legitimate? Okay. If they're not...
Yes?
Then I'm going to earn that kiss.
Oh, good afternoon.
How do you
Can I
do?
help you, please?
I'm
Doris Foster.
I'm Nick Carter. This is my secretary, Patsy Bowen.
Nick Carter, the detective?
That's right. Tell me, Miss Foster, what's your connection with the Cosmopolis Company?
Well, none, really. Miss Harris, my boss, rents out this office as a mailing address. She has several clients, and the Cosmopolis Company is one of them. Why? Is there any mail for them now? Well, yes, there is.
Let me see it, please.
Well, really, Mr. Carter, I can't
I'm
let
not
you...
going to open the mail. I just want to look at it. May I see it, please?
But why?
Because there's a chance that the Cosmopolis Company may be running a racket. I want to check.
You mean they're doing something crooked? That's the idea. Oh, my gosh, this is awful. I mean, here's the mail.
Thanks. I'll turn up that light for you, Patsy.
Uh-huh. Like this?
Yes, that's fine. Thanks. 11 letters here. With a strong light behind them, it looks as though each one contains a check or money order. I guess that's all the proof we need, Patsy.
Well, how is that proof, Nick? Wally White isn't the only contractor in the world.
True enough, but a legitimate firm wouldn't be requesting construction bid from so many different contractors. This is a racket, all right.
Oh.
And you're right in the middle, Miss Foster.
Oh, now, listen, Mr. Carter, I've only worked here for a few weeks. I don't know
anything. Who picks up
anything.
the mail for Cosmopolis?
A man named Nixon.
You know anything about this Nixon? His address? How to get in touch with him?
No, but he usually comes in every afternoon. What time? Well, any time.
All right. We won't trouble you anymore, Miss Foster.
But we'll certainly trouble that Mr. Nixon when he comes in.
Oh, Miss Foster, when Nixon comes in, give him this mail. But be careful not to say anything about me. Understand?
Oh, yes, Mr. Carter.
All right. Come on, Patsy. Huh. Looks as if I'm not going to earn that kiss after all. Gene White will have to give it to Uncle Sam. Step around the corner of the hall, Patsy.
What was that crack about Uncle Sam, Nick?
This is a federal case. Illegal use of the mail. I've got to notify the FBI. This isn't for us.
Oh.
But I'm not taking any chances on this Nixon in the meantime. Come on over here.
Why?
I want to look in this broom closet.
But what for?
Tell you in a minute. Oh. Don't know.
Nick, what's all the mystery?
See that ventilator up there?
Yes, but...
There's also a ventilator in the office where Miss Foster is.
Well, I didn't notice it.
Well, I did. And we should be able to hear anything that's said in there from right here.
But I can't hear anything.
Naturally. Miss Foster's in there alone. She's not talking to anybody.
Well, what do you intend to do? Just stand here until somebody comes in and starts to talk?
No, I'm leaving you here. Then I'm sending Scubby over with a portable wire recorder. You two should be able to get that grill off and hold the microphone right up against the grill on the other wall.
Oh, gee, it's pretty high up, Nick.
Scubby will give you a boost.
Well, sure,
I want you to try to record everything that's said in that office.
Well, we'll do our darndest, Nick, but what's the idea?
That Foster girl looked flustered.
She was.
I'm sure she won't be able to keep her mouth shut. When she sees Nixon, she may be provoked into saying something valuable.
And when Nixon leaves, Scubby tails him, eh?
You're a smart girl, Patsy. When Scubby leaves, you report back to the office. We'll turn over everything we got in this case to the government man. What's the joke?
Well, I just can't wait to see you turn over to an FBI man that kiss Jean gave you. Hello, Doris. How's the office going? Oh, gosh, Miss Harris, I'm awful glad you came in. Something terrible's just happened. What's the matter, Doris? I'm afraid we're mixed up in some kind of racket, Miss Harris. Nick Carter was just here. Nick Carter? What did he want? He was doing some investigating for a man named Wally White. Mr. Carter said those Cosmopolis people are some kind of crooks. Oh, is that so? And I think Mr. Carter's going to wait until Mr. Nixon calls for his mail and then do something to him. Now, take it easy, Doris. If that Nixon is a crook, I'll get rid of him fast enough. Oh, gosh, Miss Harris, it's got me so upset I can't... Look, Doris, why don't you take the rest of the day off? I'll take care of things here at the office. Oh, gee, thanks, Miss Harris. Honestly, I'm so shaky I couldn't type anymore today. Don't worry, I'll finish up for you. Gosh, you're swell. It's a pleasure working for you, even if I have only been here a few weeks. Oh, Mr. Nixon.
Hiya, Doris.
My boss has something to tell you, Mr. Nixon. Goodbye.
Well, what's the matter with her?
Your mail is on the desk, Mr. Nixon.
What? Oh, yeah. Thanks.
I'll trouble you to take your mail out of here. And take yourself, too.
What are you talking about?
Never mind what I'm talking about. Just understand that I'm severing relations with your company as of today. I don't want anything more to do with you, Mr. Nixon, or the Cosmopolis Company.
Okay. I don't know why you're sore at me all of a sudden, but it's okay with me. You ain't the only public steno in this city.
Quite right, Mr. Nixon. Goodbye. Nick, you back yet?
All right, yes, Patsy.
Oh.
I got back to the office a few minutes ago. Been talking with the Justice Department.
Do they know about Nixon?
They're hot on his trail. In fact, they've been after him for over a year.
Oh?
They tell me he always operates with the same girl. They're an old team.
Doris Foster.
The girl in the office?
Yes.
What makes you so sure? Did she tell Nixon anything?
Listen, Nick. Doris Foster pretended to be upset by your visit. She went home for the day and left the office to her boss, a woman named Fran Harris.
Oh.
Then Nixon came in for his mail, and Fran Harris didn't say a thing to him, just told him to get out.
That's so.
I'll bet Doris Foster pulled that act just to get a chance to warn him.
Maybe. Did Scubby tail Nixon when he left?
Uh-huh. He went right out after him. Maybe I wasn't thankful for that.
Why?
Well, can't you imagine me cooped up in a dark closet with a Scubby? He kept asking me to marry him every 2 minutes.
You didn't say yes, did you?
Of course not.
Well, what about this Fran Harris?
Well, she kept her mouth shut, Nick. Just gave Nixon the freeze. Told him to take his mail and never come back.
She did, huh?
Uh-huh. I've got the recording here, but it won't do any good. Nixon didn't say anything incriminating.
And Scubby's our only lead. Hope he can hold on to Nixon.
Oh, he'll report back as soon as he gets the chance.
Oh, wait a minute. Nick Carter speaking.
Mr. Carter, this is Jean White.
Oh, yes, Jean.
You've got to come up to my brother's office right away.
What's the matter?
He's been shot. I think he's dead. Murdered.
Nick and Patsy leave the office at a run, jump into Nick's convertible, and drive swiftly toward Wallace White's office. We'll see what happens next in just a moment. Ladies, with 1948 just a few days away, here's a New Year's resolution that's easy to make, easy to keep. It's a resolution to make all your cleaning faster, easier next year with the wonderful help of new post-war Old Dutch cleanser made with activated seismotite. The very first time you try new post-war Old Dutch, you'll be amazed at its new miracle-like speed as activated seismotite cleans away both dirt and stains. And you'll thrill to the new, almost effortless ease activated seismotite gives new post-war Old Dutch. It cleans, polishes with a new gliding action that means less work, less rubbing for you. So for faster, easier cleaning in 1948, get new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser made with activated seismotite tomorrow. It's at your dealers now in the same familiar package. Now back to the case of the missing street. Today's adventure with Nick Carter, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser. In Wallace White's office, Nick examines the body on the floor while Jean pours out her story.
We were just sitting here, Mr. Carter, talking about that missing street and wondering whether you'd get Wally's money back. Oh, easy, Jean. Then all of a sudden there was a shot through the glass panel in the door and Wally just slumped out of his chair. I called you right away.
It's a good thing you did, Jean. Wally's badly hurt, but he isn't dead.
Oh, thank heaven.
Bullet through the lung. Missed his heart by a fraction of an inch, I think. Patsy, get on the phone and get an ambulance here, fast.
Right, Nick. I can't understand it, Mr. Carter.
Neither can I, Jean. This attempted murder doesn't make sense. True enough, Wally made the move that uncovered Nixon's blueprint racket. It's true that Nixon can get about 7 years in the federal penitentiary if he's caught, but that doesn't add up to murder. It just doesn't make sense.
The ambulance is coming, Nick.
Oh, good. What the blazes happened to Scubby? If he was on Nixon's tail, how'd he let him shoot Wally?
Well, maybe he just waited downstairs when Nixon came up here.
Oh, he couldn't be that stupid. You explained to her about the case, didn't you?
Well, of course I did, Nick.
And he knew that this was Wally's address. Of course, he'd follow Nixon up the stairs to see what he was after.
Well, that's right.
Well, we'll hold on here until the ambulance takes over. Then we'll hustle back to the office and see whether we can find Scubby. I want to hear what he's got to say.
Oh, wait a minute, Nick. You said this was a federal case. It isn't our business.
The mail fraud part isn't, and we'll bow out on that. But attempted murder was something else, Patsy. That's always my business.
Hi, folks.
Scubby, what the deuce are you doing here in the office? Where's Nixon?
Gee, Nick, I'm sorry. He got away from me.
Got away from you?
Yeah, I lost him.
And let him go up to Wally White's office and pump a bullet into him.
What?
Scubby, I hate you. Don't you ever propose to me again.
All right, now, easy, Patsy. What happened, Scubby?
Well, I tailed Nixon out of the building. I swear he never saw me. Then he got into a cab, and I followed the cab all the way up to the city line. But when we got there, Nixon wasn't in it.
Huh. The old Dodge, huh? Went in one door of the cab and right on out the other. Must have seen you, Scubby.
Oh, how could he? I wasn't tailing him for more than a minute.
Maybe he's smarter than we think.
Oh, well, gee, Nick,
All right. We've lost our lead with Nixon. Let's find another. Patsy, let me hear that wire recording.
Huh? Well, there isn't anything on it.
All right, let's hear it anyway.
Okay. Here goes. Oh, Mr. Nixon.
Hiya, Doris.
My boss has something to tell you, Mr. Nixon. Goodbye.
Well, what's the matter with her?
Your mail is on the desk, Mr. Nixon.
What? Oh, yeah. Thanks.
I'll trouble you to take your mail out of here. And take yourself, too.
What are you talking about?
Never mind what I'm talking about. Just understand that I'm severing relations with your company as of today. I don't want anything more to do with Mr. Nixon or the Cosmos.
Okay. I don't know why you're sore at me all of a sudden, but it's okay with me. You ain't the only public steno in this city.
Quite right, Mr. Nixon. Goodbye.
Well, how about that?
See? You're wrong, Nick. We didn't learn a thing.
I repeat, how about that?
Well, did we?
What time is it, Patsy?
5:10.
Just time enough to go down and have another interview with Fran Harris. That girl didn't talk, but maybe she can help us find Nixon another way.
I hope we're in time, Nick.
I think we are.
Well, what now, Nick?
Scubby, you're going upstairs. Wait in the corridor outside Fran Harris's office. If she leaves the office, stay with her.
Check.
We'll wait here and pick you up when you come out. I'll get going.
You bet. And this time I don't get fooled.
Patsy, let's go in that drugstore there. We need a phone.
A phone?
Right. I'm going to interview Miss Harris on the telephone, and when I finish, wild horses won't be able to keep her in that office 1 minute longer.
burger on toast.
All right, come on in the booth, Patsy. It'll be pretty crowded.
Oh, I don't mind.
Okay, come on.
Huh?
One cheeseburger.
Nick, what are you going to say to Fran Harris when you get her on the phone?
First of all, I'm going to try to sound like Nixon.
Yeah, but what are you going to say?
Anything that comes into my head, just as long as it doesn't make sense.
But, Nick...
All right, now, Patsy, muffle the phone with your handkerchief so I can have my other hand free.
Sure, but I don't get it.
All right, now, quiet. I'll have her in a second.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Miss Harris.
Yes, who's this?
This is the Cranston Pharmaceutical Company calling the time of day. Just the curb inspections?
What's that?
Hey, why the double talk?
Get quiet, Patsy. I don't think you do you, Miss Harris? Well, please understand the way it means, or at least. I'm going to say it again the twice time when you went inside the office. You did. You didn't get that? And he did.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Well, I wouldn't if I were the type that you. It's perfectly ridiculous. Isn't the time I went in there? We should at least, because listening is understanding, which is a sensible way, isn't it?
You have the wrong number. Goodbye.
Ah, she hung up.
Nick, what were you tapping your ring against the phone for all the time you were talking?
That was part of the interview. Come on. Fran Harris will be shooting out of her office any minute. And we've got to be in the car ready to follow her.
She's turning down 4th Street, Nick.
Right. We'll stay with her.
I wish I knew what you said to her on the phone. She came scooting out of her office.
I gave her some double talk.
Double talk?
With Nixon's voice, or a reasonable facsimile. And while he talked, Nick also tapped on the phone with his ring.
Oh, I wish I could figure out your tricks, Nick.
Yeah.
You could. Crooks could, too. That wouldn't be so good. Heads up now. Fran just ducked into that loft building.
Are we going in after her?
We are. We've got to move fast or we'll lose her.
I can hear her, Nick. She's still running up the stairs ahead of us.
Probably headed for the top floor.
Well, what's she got to do with Nixon and Doris Foster?
You'll find out.
Is she sore because they were using her office for their racket?
All right, let's keep extra quiet, please. Top floor coming up.
You think Nixon's inside that loft?
I hope so.
But what do we do?
A simple thing. Just knock on the door and go in. After we're inside, we'll take him.
Well, suppose he puts up a fight. Don't forget what he did to Wally White.
I'm not forgetting Wally White.
But, Nick, you can't.
All right now. Stop here.
Okay.
Nixon, open up. Open up, Nixon. I want to talk to you.
Oh, watch out!
Sit down, quick. Sit down. I was wrong. There's going to be a fight. And maybe another murder. Nick, Patsy, and Scubby crouch on the floor as shots splinter the plant door. We'll see what happens in just a moment. Friends, we won't be with you again until next week, so we take this opportunity to wish you the very best of everything for the new year. 1947 has seen America assume a role of world leadership. The poor and oppressed peoples in many lands look to us in the years ahead for strength and guidance. So let us set the example by welcoming the coming year with faith and optimism, confident that we can lead the world on the path of peace and righteousness. The makers of new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser and the entire cast of Nick Carter all join me in wishing you a very happy, very prosperous new year. Now for the conclusion of the case of the missing street, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser. Outside the door of the blueprint plant, Nick, Patsy, and Scubby hug the floor as bullets smash through the door over their heads.
We've got to do something, Nick.
Mr. Carter! Mr. Carter, he's in here!
That's Fran Harris.
Save me, Mr. Carter! Oh, save me!
I'm coming in, Miss Harris.
Oh, Nick, you can't do it.
Stay there, Patsy.
Are you crazy? He'll drop you as soon as you go through that door.
No, he won't. Here I come, Nixon.
Oh, Nick!
All right, you can come in too, Patsy. Nixon's dead.
Dead?
Nixon's dead.
What?
With a bullet through his heart. There's Fran over against the wall.
Well, you got here just in time, Mr. Carter. Nixon was going to kill me.
It's no use, Miss Harris. You made a good try, but it didn't work.
A good try?
How could Nixon be dead with a bullet through his heart when I never fired a shot?
Why,
You were hoping I would shoot, weren't you?
Well, he killed himself when you said you were coming in.
Oh, no, he didn't, Fran. You put a bullet into him and staged the whole act. Too bad I followed up the lead so quickly, isn't it? You were hoping he'd be framed for the murder of Wally White.
You mean she She shot Wally?
I told you that murder didn't make sense, Patsy. But it did as soon as I discovered Fran was in the racket with Nixon and was using Doris as a front.
That's not true.
Then Doris was innocent, Nick?
She was, Scubby. When we started investigating the fraud pulled on Wally White, she got scared and reported it to Fran Harris. And Fran suddenly got a bright idea.
What do you mean?
You figured that if you killed Wally with Nixon's gun, you could blame the killing on Nixon. And a ballistics test would show that it was Nixon's gun, and he'd be executed for murder. Then you could take over the racket.
You're a liar.
Look, Fran, whether or not we can prove that you killed Wally makes no difference, because we can prove you killed Nixon just now.
You cannot.
Oh, yes, we can. You see, Fran, there's no gun within Nixon's reach as he lies there dead. And there are also no powder marks on him to indicate suicide. Therefore, the only person who could have killed him is you.
Well, you'll never prove anything.
Don't bother to argue, Fran. A criminal court will settle it for you, and settle it good with the evidence I have. From now on, a prison cell is going to be your mailing address.
Nick, there are a couple of points.
About what, Patsy?
Well, you say Fran Harris and Nixon worked this racket together.
That's right.
Then you mean that whenever Nixon started this racket in a new city, Fran went on ahead and rented an office so he could have a mailing address?
Sure. She also hired a girl to work for her as a stenographer. The girl, of course, knew nothing about the racket. She just knew that she worked for Fran.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but how did you figure out the tie-up between Fran and Nixon?
Why, the minute I heard that wire recording, I knew that they were working together.
But she didn't say anything, Nick.
She didn't. But her typewriter said plenty.
Her typewriter?
Mm-hmm. She was typing in code all the time she was talking.
In code?
That's right.
What?
She and Nixon had it worked out for emergencies. She was afraid someone might be listening outside, so she tapped out a message on her typewriter in international code. Nick Carter snooping around. Play dumb and go back to the plant.
So that's how Nixon knew Scubby was tailing him.
Correct.
And that's how you got her to lead us to the plant. While you were talking double talk to her, you were also tapping a message to her with your ring.
Right again.
Oh.
All I said was, Nixon calling. Emergency. Come to plant immediately.
And when she heard us outside the loft door, she realized she'd been followed.
Exactly. And she tried her last desperate trick. She killed Nixon and then fired a few more shots and pretended she was an innocent victim about to be murdered.
Yeah, but you didn't fall for it, which finished the case.
No, not quite. We've got to go around to the hospital and see Wally White.
Oh. Got a present for Jean?
No, but I've got a reward for Wally.
Huh?
The Justice Department was offering $1,000 for information leading to the arrest of Nixon. And I'm seeing to it that Wally collects.
Oh, that's swell.
He lost money on a missing street. But now he's going to collect on a missing crook.
Nick, how about a hint or two on what new post-war Old Dutch cleanser has in store for us next week?
Well, Bob, the only thing I can tell you is something I'm afraid you won't believe.
Well, if you say it, well, I'll believe it. Go on and tell me.
Okay, then. It's the story of a man who was shot and killed by a stained glass window.
Killed by a... Oh, now, Nick, wait a minute.
Oh, well, Bob, you can't say Nick didn't warn you.
But that sounds absolutely crazy. What do you call the story, Nick?
I call it The Case of the Devil's Left Eye.
Attention homemakers. Now you don't need a mixing bowl to color margarine. The sensational new Delrich Easy Color Pack margarine ends mixing bowl mess. With Delrich, the margarine and color berry are both inside a sealed plastic bag. You simply pinch the berry, then gently knead the bag. And Delrich quickly blends to a luscious golden color inside the bag. And listen, the delicious country sweet flavor and freshness of Delrich are sealed in. It's truly America's finest margarine. Ask for the new Delrich Easy Color Pack margarine tomorrow. Nick Carter, Master Detective, is presented each week at this time by the Cudahy Packing Company. It is produced and directed by Jock McGregor and is copyrighted by Street & Smith Publications, Incorporated. Charlotte Manson is featured as Patsy. Today's script was written by Alfred Bester. Original music is played by Henry Silverne. This program is fictional, and any resemblance to actual persons living or dead is purely coincidental. This is Bob Martin saying, when minutes count, use new post-war Old Dutch cleanser. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This I believe. Once when cartoonist Misha Richter was asked what things he liked, his answer was painting, ideas, and laughter. In his own life, he has achieved all three things. He has been painting since his early childhood in his native Russia. He has brought laughter to millions as a King Feature Syndicate cartoonist, the creator of Strictly Richter. And now, he expresses some of his ideas through his personal creed.
I started drawing pictures at the age of 2. The first one I ever made showed a bull chasing a man across a wide field. Even in those early years, there was no doubt in my mind that drawing was fun, and that one day I'd be an artist. My folks were of modest means, but that did not stop them from doing all they could to encourage my leanings. I recall there were always plenty of art materials around the house. My drawings and watercolors circulated among our friends. There were frequent visits to the museums, galleries, and bookstores. When I started looking for work, soon after graduation from college, I faced a new world. The days of smooth sailing were over. There was the usual period of walking around from office to office with my samples. Occasionally there was a mural to do, a landscape for a living room, a portrait of somebody's aunt, 1 or 2 sales to some magazine. During this time I was married. Even though it took 7 years before I clicked, my wife stood by me. There were times when we skipped a meal, but we never lost hope. I mention these things that happened to me because I realized that circumstances and people contributed to the progress I made. And I began to lose my conceit. I believed that I owe something to others, and that none of us spring into being like Juno from Jupiter's head, well-formed, developed, and mature, ready to shower the world with our radiance and wisdom. Had I not been given freely of this encouragement and opportunity to study and develop as a child, I may not have stood up before the pressure of post-college years. Conceit, acquired in childhood, turned into much-needed self-assurance. I believe this about education in general. In some way, and in a varied degree, it applies to all of us. I believe that things depend on each other. I am what I am because of what happened before me. The past bequeathed its experience to me. Art is a form of giving. Art teaches me that a fuller and happier life can be achieved only in giving of myself to others. My development as a human being and artist shall grow in direct proportion to that understanding. All of us are good at something. The selection of one's work and the opportunity to develop it, once the choice is made, is the right of everyone. The inner calling is the true calling. I chose my work on that basis, and not because I wanted to try to make a lot of money. I believe in humor. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a cartoonist because laughter is a much-needed commodity. It is an equalizer and a balancer. Equalizer because people in all walks of life like a good joke. Balancer because it enables us to view life without bitterness. An effective, well-timed, humorous observation, verbal, pictorial, or both, cuts through any collection of windy, tired cliches and platitudes. Finally, and most important of all, I believe in people. It gives me untold joy to be able to add a little laughter to their lives.
That was cartoonist Misha Richter, who has devised his own formula for a happy life and lives it in Darien, Connecticut.
Presents transcribed Frank Lovejoy in I.B.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. You know, in the long story of human relations, conflict between brothers is no new item. It goes all the way back to Cain and Abel. Hey, you can see it all the time if you care to look, but most people don't. It's not always pleasant. Anyway, I want to tell you a story about two brothers. They were jockeys, and when they started knocking up against each other, coming down the stretch in a drive for the wire, all mixed up with a ton of horseflesh and a mess of pounding hooves, well, somebody should have run up the red flag of danger. It all goes back to yesterday morning. I was sitting in front of my typewriter trying to get a story to fit into place. It was close to 5 a.m., and the clock on the wall was sticking its tongue out at me. I just about decided to turn in what I had and let it go when I felt someone move up to my desk.
Hi, Randy.
It was Ben Clark, a jockey fellow I'd known on and off for years and a pretty good friend. Well, Ben, you old son of a gun, how are you?
Pretty good, Randy. Good to see you.
Where'd you pop out of all of a sudden?
Well, a meet's opening this afternoon. I was on my way out to the track for a little morning workout. Saw the light on up here. Wondered if it was you.
Well, I'm glad you came up. Sit down.
Thanks.
Cup of cold coffee? I keep it around for special friends.
Oh, no thanks, Randy. I haven't got much time. Gonna have to shove in a minute.
How's the wife?
Oh, Stella's swell. We just got in from California a couple of days ago. Been riding out there.
Yeah, I know. I've been keeping tabs on you through sports.
Randy.
What's the matter, Ben? You look kind of beat.
Tired, I guess, that's all. Randy, you seen Keeney?
Your brother? No.
Yeah, he's in Chi, too. I thought you might have bumped into him.
No, last I heard of him, he was riding apprentice down at Gulfstream.
Yeah. Well, he's going to ride here. Got in a couple of days ago, the boys tell me. All fired up. Ready to ride against me to prove he's better than I am or something.
You two still at it, huh? Why don't you two kiss and make up? Be better all the way around.
No, I don't know. We don't speak the same language, I guess. Kid's sore. Figures I was trying to hold him down when I wouldn't give him permission to ride before he was 18. I was his guardian. It's a laugh, isn't it?
Yeah.
I couldn't let him ride. You know that. He was like a maniac on a horse. He'd get out there and he didn't care what happened, what he did, as long as he won. He's going to get himself killed, you know that. Couldn't let him ride for his own good.
Well, he's old enough to call his own shots now, Ben. I wouldn't worry about it.
No. The way it looks to me, he waited till I signed to ride here, and then he wangled himself some mounts so he could go against me. Just hope he's got a little more sense now, that's all. Just hope he's settled down some since I saw him last.
Oh, sure he has, Ben. He was just a kid then. Riding was a game to him. Winning was fun. Now it's a business to him. He doesn't want to break his neck any more than the next fellow.
Yeah. Oh, look, Randy, give us a ring at the hotel tonight, will you? Stella'd love to see you. Maybe we can take in dinner?
Sure, that'd be swell. Say, wait a minute. You going out to the track now?
Yeah.
Why don't I come along? You mind?
No, not at all. Come on.
Maybe that's what I need, a little fresh air. That's my trouble, too much indoor living. It was just after dawn when we reached the track. Ben went on into the jockey room to suit up, and I ambled over to the rail. There it was, the dawn patrol, watching the horses in their early morning blowouts. Trainers, owners, exercise and stable boys, and handicappers. Each of them with a stopwatch in his hand or in his head. And most of them looking for the pot of gold at the end of a mile and an eighth. A big gray was thundering down the track, and I recognized the jock, Keeney Clark. I knew right then and there why I'd gone out to the track. After Keeney finished his workout, I caught up with him, heading for the jockey room. Hey, Keeney! Keeney!
Huh?
Just a minute.
Oh, Randy Stone, hi.
Hi. I saw you on that gray. You look good.
Thanks. What you doing out? They got you in sports now?
Oh, no. Nothing like that. I want to talk to you.
Me?
Yeah. Come on, let's sit down over there.
Yeah, all right.
How you been, Keeney? Hey, you did pretty well down at Gulfstream.
Yeah, I did okay.
Okay. Leading apprentice, that's better than okay, isn't it?
It's all right.
Yeah, sit down.
Yeah.
Well, what is it, Randy?
Well...
Go on, I'm listening.
You know, you're looking at a guy who's just about ready to put his foot into something he'd do better to keep it out of.
Go ahead, shoot.
I talked to Ben a little earlier.
Oh.
He's kind of worried.
He is, huh?
About you.
Me? What's he worried about me for?
Well, I told him it was silly, but you know Ben, sometimes he's a little old woman.
I hadn't noticed.
Well, he's worried about the way you ride. He's afraid you're going to bust yourself up or something. You know, I think it'd be pretty nice if you went up to see him.
I'll see you around, Randy.
Now, Keeney, wait a minute.
You got things mixed up, Randy. Ben's not worried about me. Not one bit, no.
What do you mean?
He's worried about himself, like he's always been. That's what I mean. He's worried I'll become something and beat him out of some headlines.
Ben?
He's worried about two guys with the same name. He's worried he'll have to share the glory. He's been stepping on me all my life. He wants me down. He wants to be up. I don't like that. And I'll tell you something else.
Oh, now ease off.
He's scared. Yeah, Ben's scared. Deep down in him, he's scared because he's getting old for a jock and soft. And it eats him because he thinks I'm better than he is. And he's right.
Uh-huh. Okay, you run down now?
Just a pause for a station break.
Well, I think you got it wrong, Keeney.
You do, huh? Okay, I got it wrong. You got it right? You got all the facts?
Well, no.
You know everything that's going on between us?
No, I don't.
Okay, you gave yourself an answer. Now, listen, Randy. Ben's business is Ben's and mine is mine.
Yeah, and neither of them is mine. Yeah, I know. Okay, Keeney, you told me. I'll see you around. Yeah, he told me all right. Some of what he said, at least, was true. I didn't have all the facts, and my business was elsewhere. A lesson I have to keep relearning on occasion. So I tucked my tail between my legs and decided to leave bad enough alone. I checked out of the track, stopped off for a bite to eat, figuring the affair of the feuding brothers was behind me. As often is the case, I was wrong. It was 8 a.m. when I got back to the office to see if I had any mail, and the phone caught me. Hello.
Randy?
Yeah?
Stella Clark.
Oh, hi, Estelle.
Busy?
No, I saw Ben today.
Uh-huh. He told me. Randy, I've got an extra ticket for the races this afternoon. Same box as me. Do you want to come?
Well, I don't know, Estelle. That's usually my...
I wish you'd come, Randy. Please come. I want to talk to you. It's important.
Well...
I'll leave the ticket at will call. Bye.
Estelle, hey. Oh.
Reach the post in 5 minutes.
I'd gone on home, caught a few hours of sleep, and made the track just before the first race. I shoved my way through the crowd over to the boxes, and I saw her. Blonde, a little heavier than before. She was sitting there nervously fingering her program, then she looked around.
Randy, I was beginning to wonder if you'd come.
I'm sorry, Stell. Made it as soon as I could.
Here, come on, sit down.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to check the program. Who's Ben on?
Number 4, bosun's mate.
I better get down to the window if I want to put my $2 on him.
Keeney's on number 1, Blue Flyer.
Yeah?
Randy, they had a big argument a little while ago. Keeney and Ben. They went at it hot and heavy.
Oh, what about?
The same old what about. Keeney said Ben's been holding him down and a lot of other things. That kid's got a persecution complex, I tell you.
Stella.
Keeney hates Ben. He's just waiting for a chance to get back at him.
Now, Stella, please, listen to me. I talked to Ben. I talked to Keeney, too, this morning. This is none of my business, Stella. I don't know what it's all about. And besides, there's nothing I can do about it.
I'm only talking to you, Randy, because you're a friend of Ben's. Because I got no one else to talk to.
Yeah, I know.
It was all right as long as they were apart. Riding on different tracks, it didn't matter none. But now, down there on the same track, pounding down the stretch together, something's going to happen, Randy.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Stella. Nothing says anything's going to happen.
No, nothing says it. You won't find it written anywhere. But something is, I know.
The horses have now reached the post.
Randy, I'm afraid.
Easy, Stella.
I'm afraid. I can't help it. I got a feeling.
They're off and...
Randy!
They came out of the gate in a pack, 10 horses going 6 furlongs. They began to string out on the backstretch, Canapé in front by a neck, Ben's horse, Bosun's Mate, second by a length over Pedro D. And Keeney's horse, Blue Flyer, was well back. They held their way pretty much coming around the far turn with Keeney's horse picking up ground. And then they headed into the stretch.
And in the stretch, Canopy in front by a head. Motion's made second. And next goes the Pedro D. Laconic, and here comes Blue Flyer between horses. Canopy, motion's made. Next and Blue Flyer gains steadily. Canopy, motion's made. Blue Flyer, motion's made. Canopy, Blue Flyer.
Get him up there! Randy, back down!
Well, a lot of things happened after that, and all about the same time. Keeney's horse streaked across the finish line the winner, but the inquiry sign went up just as fast, which meant the stewards were going to look at the motion pictures of the race to see if everything had been on the up and up. Meanwhile, the word foul was rumbling through the stands, and so was a sense of tragedy. Ben Clark hadn't moved at all from where he'd fallen on the turf. The track ambulance made it out to him fast, and a few minutes later he was in the track infirmary, a couple of pale green rooms attached to the jockey room. The doctor was bending over him. Stella sat in the anteroom doing a good job of turning her handkerchief into a wet and salty pulp.
I can't stop crying, Randy. I can't.
Well, then don't,
I
Stella.
want to cry. I want to hold up. I do.
I can't think of one reason why you should. Now, go ahead, cry, Stella.
Ben can't be hurt, Randy. He just can't be hurt bad.
Well, then he won't, Stella. He's pretty solid. He's taken spills before.
Yeah. But how long can you keep taking them?
Mind if I come in?
Keeney.
Yeah. How is he?
We don't know yet.
What'd the doc say? He must have said something.
He hasn't come out yet.
Oh.
Get out of here, Keeney. Get out of here.
Stella.
Beat it, get out of here. Get out of my sight.
Now, wait a minute,
Killer,
Stella.
that's what he is. Maniac. Ben was right when he called you that.
Please, Stella.
What'd you do, come to gloat? Well, Ben ain't dead yet, I'll tell you that. He's too good a guy to die because of a punk like you.
I guess I better take off.
Keeney, I guess you better.
For your sake, sonny boy. Ben better be all right.
Yeah. Can you come out a minute, Randy?
Oh, yeah, sure. Excuse me a minute, Stella.
Kind of upset, isn't she?
Now, it's hard to blame her.
Yeah.
She doesn't mean half the things she says, though.
Only half? Half of what she said's enough. You think like she does, Randy, that I fouled Ben deliberately?
I don't know.
Wait until the stewards see the pictures, huh? A man's innocent until proven guilty. You're a good guy no matter what. Don't you even have an opinion?
On something I don't know about? I thought you told me once before that was kind of dumb.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ride you. I guess I'm kind of edgy. Randy, I didn't foul Ben.
Well, then I hope the pictures show it.
There was some bumping in there, that's true. But I don't even know for sure who was bumping who. There were 3 horses in there. I was riding pretty hard. That's true, too.
Yeah, I heard about the way you ride.
Nothing intentional, though, Randy.
No, nothing that seems intentional, at least.
What do you mean?
Well, we do a lot of things unintentionally that we really mean to do all along.
Then you are blaming me.
No. It's just a comment. Like we said, I haven't got all the facts.
Funny kind of comment.
Yeah, maybe it is. Well, I better get inside, Gene. Stella's alone.
All I know is, Randy, that I ride hard. Rough, I guess. Yeah, I'm a cowboy on a horse, like they say. When I get in there, I drive with all that's in me, and I don't think too much. That's because I want to win and keep on winning. But that's one thing. Fouling's another, and that's something I've never done.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
The inquiry signs come down.
The stewards have viewed the motion pictures of the first race, and the results are now official. 1, 6, and 3. Blue Flyer, Canopy, and Pedro D. The stewards have declared no foul.
Well, that's it.
You were right, kid. No foul. You won it fair and square.
Yeah.
So you're in the clear. I'm glad it turned out that way.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Maybe you better go on inside now and see if Ben made out as well.
I went back on into the infirmary. The doctor was there, and Stella had her head buried on his shoulder. At first, I couldn't tell whether her crying was from sorrow or relief. The doctor soon enlightened me.
I'll need x-rays to be sure, Randy. But it may be a broken neck.
NBC is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. For millions of Americans, tonight marks the beginning of a 3-day holiday. A large percentage of these people will be out on the highways driving to vacation spots, and it is to these people that this message is directed. Actually, we don't like to be grim at times such as these when a holiday is in the offing. Unfortunately, it is sometimes necessary. The National Safety Council estimates that 310 persons will be killed in traffic accidents during the next 3 days. 310 people will die on our highways. Now, the council hopes that the estimate is high. When you drive this weekend, please be careful. Be alert. Drive only at the safe speed limit, even though it is many miles less than the legal limit. Be courteous and careful. Help reduce the number of traffic deaths on this holiday weekend by practicing the golden rule when you drive. Don't chisel in traffic, or you may be only a statistic on Monday. The life you save may be your own. And now, back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
Well, you couldn't convince Stella that Keeney hadn't fouled Ben. She claimed the pictures just didn't show it. Anyway, Ben was taken to Mercy Hospital where they took some x-rays. Fortunately, it was only a slipped disc and not nearly as severe as an out-and-out break. They put some traction on Ben's neck, and in a couple of hours, he was up again. A little wobbly, but navigable. The doctor told him to lay off riding for a few days, and then they let him go home. Meanwhile, Keeney had himself a big afternoon at the track, booting in 4 winners. That night, I got another call from Stella Clark. She was all upset again and asked me if I could come over, which I did.
Mr. Summerfield was out to see Ben a little while ago.
Summerfield?
He's the man who owns the stable Ben rides for.
Oh.
He wants Ben to ride in the Memorial Stakes tomorrow.
That's a big race.
He wants him on Demolition.
That's the favorite, if I remember right. Ben wants to do it, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's up to Ben, isn't it?
Doc said to lay off 10 days at least. The spill just happened today. He's not ready.
Well, Ben knows how he feels. He wouldn't do it.
He doesn't know how he feels at all. He doesn't care about the race itself. It's Keeney.
How do you mean?
Booting in all those winners, that's what's eating Ben.
I don't believe that, Stella.
Well, I'm telling you. I've watched him read about it in the papers, listened to it on the radio.
What, Stella?
Hi, Ben. You're back sooner than I thought.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Randy.
Ben?
Didn't know you were coming up.
I called him and asked him.
You told him about Summerfield wanting me to ride tomorrow?
Uh-huh.
She's worried about me.
Well, that's a good sign. She loves you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not complaining. Just wish she wouldn't worry, though, that's all. I'm riding tomorrow because I feel like it. Because racing's my business. Gave me everything I've got. A bank account, a reputation. And you, Stell.
Oh,
Even gave me you.
Ben.
That's where I'm going tomorrow. And you're wrong, hon, about what you're thinking. Keeney's got nothing to do with it at all.
Ben was convincing. His manner was easy. He was quiet and dispassionate about the whole thing. Then all of a sudden I got a funny feeling. I began to think that maybe he was too quiet and too dispassionate because the truth of the matter was there was going to be another test between them. Ben and Keeney were going to play out any grievances they had or thought they had the only place they knew how, on the track. And to me, the whole thing began to feel like a stick of dynamite with a short fuse.
The 7th race, the Memorial Stakes, 1 mile and a 16th for 4-year-olds and up. Number 1, Carmel with Jockey J. Hubbard up. Number 2, Demolition, Jockey Ben Clark in the saddle. Number 3, Cover Girl, Steve Abbott booting. Number 4, Hurry Up, Jockey Keeney Clark. Number 5, Captain 8, Jockey Keith Brunelli.
I'd gone on down to the jockey room before the race for a last-minute word with Ben and Keeney. Ben was calm as ever. We chatted a bit, and then he went out to talk to Mr. Summerfield, the owner of his mount. Keeney wasn't so calm. He stood by himself in the corner of the room, looking out the window, banging his whip up against the palm of his hand. He turned when I came up to him.
Huh? Oh, hi, Randy.
Hi, Keeney.
Well, you got your $2 on.
Well, I figured I'd play it strictly neutral, kid. I got 2 going on each of you. I figured I'd win that way no matter what.
No matter what?
What's the matter?
Nothing, just the pre-race jitters. Yeah, there is something. Randy, you got much influence with Ben?
Well, not that I've noticed.
Think you can get him to cancel out?
Cancel out?
It'll be easy for him. He's got a headache or something. Don't feel so good on account of the spill. He don't look so good, you know. He's not up to it.
Well, that's up to Ben, Keeney. He's calling it. Why do you want him to cancel out anyway?
Like I said, he's not in very good shape. It's going to be rough out there.
Well, who's going to make it so rough?
There'll be 10 other guys out there besides him.
Including you?
Including me. I'm telling you, Randy, if it's him and me coming down to the wire, I'm not letting up no matter how big that spill Ben took yesterday. No matter how he's feeling.
Well, I don't think Ben'd want you to.
Okay, just thought I'd say it for the record. I'm going to beat him again, Randy. I am. And that won't sit well with him.
You still got to do it.
I'm telling you, I will. I'll beat him, you'll see. Like I've wanted to all my life. He's going to get the dirt in his face this time. I'm going to win it.
You know, kid, I've heard a lot of guys talk about winning before. But you got a way of making it sound like it's a sickness.
Yeah? Maybe so, Randy. All I know is I got to win and keep on winning.
Why?
Simple. Take a look at me. What do you see?
I don't follow.
What do you see? Look at me. 4'9", 98 pounds, a head taller than a Pekingese. Too big for a sideshow and too little for much else. Do you like nice, tall girls with long legs, Randy?
That's a silly question.
Well, I like them, too. But they don't pay much attention to me. They get sore necks looking down.
What are you getting at?
Oh, you know what I'm getting at. I'm a jock. That's all I'm left with. That's all I can be. So if I'm a winning one, I'm a king. I got money, respect. I got a life. If I'm a losing one, I'm nothing. I'm a bust. Face the fact, if I'm a loser, I'm just a little squirt and nobody gives a care. So you see, I gotta win.
No matter how?
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't.
The horses have now reached the post.
Even before the race began, you knew it was going to be a strange one. A run between two jocks. The horses less important than the two men up on their backs. From the beginning, it was a two-man race. Ben on demolition, Keeney on hurry up. The other horses melted away like it was a conspiracy.
Coming round the clubhouse turn, hurry up in front by a length. Demolition, second by 3 lengths over Kathleen H. Cover Girl, Fade Away, and Empire Queen.
They held that way past the half-mile post and onto the back stretch. Keeney in front, then a length or so behind.
On to the far turn, hurry up in front, 2 lengths over Demolition. Empire Queen third, 4 lengths back. Kathleen H., Grassroots, and Cover Girl. Coming into the stretch, and here's Demolition making his bid on the inside.
Ben on Demolition began to move. Keeney had 2 lengths on him, but coming for home, Ben began to lay onto the whip, and the lead began to melt. A length and a half, a length. Ben was closing ground, a half a length, a neck, a head. And then both of them were pounding toward the wire, neck and neck, riding hard, trying with all their might. And suddenly it happened. The foul was obvious. Keeney's horse lugged in and bumped Ben's mount, and a rider went spilling out onto the turf. It was Keeney Clark, and up in the stands you could almost hear his back break.
5 minutes, Randy. No more.
All right, Doctor.
That's you, Randy?
Yeah, it's me, kid.
I'm a mess, ain't I? Doc says I'll be laid up for months.
Yeah, I know.
Take some of the steam out of me, huh? Doc says maybe no more riding, ever. No, he's wrong there. If I say I ride again, I ride again.
I believe you.
What's with Ben?
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
The stewards, they had a lot to say, I'll bet.
No, not much. They saw the pictures of the race. Your horse lugged in badly, bumped Ben's. That gave him the race, cleared him of the blame. They figured you'd fouled him to keep him from pulling on ahead and winning.
They did, huh? Randy, I'm going to tell you something. I want you to believe me. It's not going to be easy.
Go on.
I didn't foul Ben. My horse lugged in. It bumped Ben's mount. I know that. But I didn't foul him. Honest to Pete, I don't know what really happened out there at all. Ben.
Hi, Keeney. Randy, glad you're here.
What's the matter, Ben? What happened? You look like you've been through a ringer.
Yeah, I have, Randy, I have. Yeah, let me sit down. I've been walking. I've been thinking about the kid up here with his back busted.
Here, Ben.
Thanks. Gentlemen, you ever hear of a louse who never knew he was a louse? A real no-good guy who always figured himself for a prince of a fella? I know a guy like that. You want to know who?
Ben.
Me. Yeah, me, old Ben, Keeney's big brother. Old Ben Clark, louse. Keeney's always known it. He knows exactly what I was. But so help me on a stack of Bibles I didn't know until today. And when I got a look at myself, it turned my guts.
Oh, now settle down, Ben.
Please, Randy, don't stop me. Let me get this out, will you?
Sorry.
It was an impulse, Randy. You know what that is? Something you do on the spur of the moment without thinking. Something that comes from deep down inside of you, and it's got more truth to it than anything you do. Well, that's what it was. An impulse. Hey, kid.
Yeah, Ben?
Can you forgive me? Coming down that stretch, I suddenly felt I couldn't let you beat me. The pictures didn't show it, but the foul wasn't really yours. I stuck my whip in your horse's eye.
Well, Ben told the whole story to the stewards, and they gave the race to Keeney. Not that it mattered much anymore. What's going to happen now between the no longer feuding brothers? Well, I don't know for sure. Ben's given up riding. He's going to try his hand at training. I like to think in the not-too-distant future, Ben will saddle himself a fine animal, Keeney will get in the irons and boot him home a big stakes winner. But win or lose, Keeney and Ben bear out something I've always believed. You don't have to win to be a winner. In our book, it's how you run the race that counts. And remember, just because you didn't come in first doesn't necessarily mean you lost. Copy, boy.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis. Tonight's transcribed story was written by Larry Roman, with music by Robert Armbruster. The part of Keeney was played by Sam Edwards. Dick Crenna was Ben. Others featured were Harry Lang and Ann Diamond. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. Night Beat came to you from Hollywood. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Friday evening, The Roy Rogers Show brings you an exciting half hour of Western music and adventure. The short story presents Three Pair of Heels by Neil Bell. Short story is your invitation to a half hour of great dramatic entertainment. Consult your local newspaper for broadcast time and join us Friday for Roy Rogers and Short Story. Two great shows on NBC. Tonight, Dragnet brings you authentic adventure on NBC.
This I believe. Mr. Mukarto is the Foreign Minister of the Republic of Indonesia. He has been active in nationalist organizations since his school days in his native East Java. Now at 41, he is one of the leaders of this new nation. He first visited the United States in 1950 as the Deputy Chief Delegate to the United Nations, and again for the 1952 General Assembly, this time as the Foreign Minister. If his creed sounds more political than personal, perhaps it's because he has lived history so personally. Here is Mr. Mukarto.
As a representative of a nation,
which had for 300 years been under foreign domination, perhaps the most important thing in which I believe is respect for the dignity of man. As you probably know, many of the leaders of the newly independent nations in Asia had to spend some time in jail. It was almost a necessary adjunct to their work for independence. Such people as Pandit Nehru of India, President Sukarno of Indonesia, and many others found themselves imprisoned during the early 1920s and 1930s for their part in the fight for freedom. I was honored to find myself among these fighters for freedom myself. In jail, I met representatives of many classes of the population. There were the political prisoners, the poor, the innocent, the guilty. And though we were of many classes, there were moments when we found ourselves joined together as one blood brothers. These moments came when one of the Indonesian fighters were sentenced to death. On the morning they were to go to the firing squad. A tremendous wave of sympathetic emotion flowed through us all. As the victim to be was being led to the firing squad, our voices rose as one in the Indonesian national anthem, and even as the guns sounded, our voices rose over the staccato noise. No one led us. No one told us to sing. We felt the same emotion at the same moment. And in the silence that followed the killing, we were able to meditate and frame our thoughts. Perhaps that is why class differences do not enter into Indonesian thinking, why our relationships with one another are based on a sense of mutual dignity. We express this dignity in Indonesia through the 5 principles that guide our nation. We call these 5 principles the Pancasila, and they are written into the preamble of our constitution. First, believe in God. Second, humanitarianism or internationalism. Third, nationalism. Fourth, sovereignty of the people or democracy. Fifth, social justice. We are only a young nation, but we are trying to make these 5 principles a reality. For like myself, a lot of Indonesian was imprisoned during its 300 years of colonial status, and in becoming free and realizing the fruits of this freedom, we are developing within our own nation a high degree of respect for the dignity of man. These are the principles that guide us in our international relations, in our work at the United Nations, and in our judgments of matters that affect world peace. Whatever helps develop the dignity of man is good. Whatever prevents the growth of man's dignity should be changed. But even in making changes, the effort itself must be consistent with the dignity of man. Thus, nothing should be done that would in any way lessen the ability of each man to hold himself and his neighbors in anything short of the highest respect.
That was Mr. Mukarto, the Foreign Minister of the Republic of Indonesia.
Listen while the makers of Rexall drug products and 10,000 independent Rexall family druggists bring you Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective. This is your Rexall family druggist speaking to you for the 10,000 independent druggists who have made the word Rexall part of our own store names and who recommend and sell the 2,000 or more drug products made by the Rexall Drug Company, like Rexall MI31, for example, Rexall's popular and versatile mouthwash, gargle, and breath deodorant. Full-strength MI31 kills contacted germs almost instantly, yet will not harm the delicate membranes of the mouth and throat. Ask for Rexall MI31 at Rexall drugstores everywhere. And remember, you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall. Good health to all from Rexall. Now your your Rexall family druggist brings you a transcribed half hour with Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell. Diamond Detective Agency. I'll help you out if you're in trouble, but if it's a murder, it'll cost you double.
Rick.
Oh, hello, Helen, baby. What's new with the wealthy?
Not much. Only we had a date last night, remember?
Well, did we have fun?
Oh, loads. Only we'd had more fun if you'd shown up.
Now, Helen, don't overestimate me.
I don't.
No. Look, honey, I am sorry about last night. Sat up with a sick aunt, you know.
Tender.
Well, don't you believe me?
No. Expect me to?
No.
Then we're even.
Helen, I hate people who hold grudges. You busy tonight?
Uh-huh.
Doing what?
Oh, I'll probably end up listening to some idiot play the piano.
Anyone I know?
Maybe. He's a little boy who never grew out of the cops and robbers stage.
Oh, yes, the good-looking one. He's the guy. Uh-oh. Client just walked in. I'll call you back and squirm later. Bye.
Diamond?
In the rough. What can I do for you?
You seen the morning papers?
Only the funnies.
Seen the story on page 2?
Hey, what are you, a traveling quiz show?
Look at it.
Pete Rocco broke out of prison.
That's right. You sent Pete up for murder. He always said he'd get out and take care of you.
Gee, I wish I hadn't cut my fingernails. I got nothing to chew.
You better find something. Pete's a nasty little boy.
Well, what's all this to you?
My name's Danny Rocco. I'm Pete's brother.
Oh, looking for a piece of cheese?
I found one. Get your hat, Shamus.
There was a bulge in Danny's coat pocket that hadn't come with the suit. Believing in the safety first slogan, I picked up my hat and was led to a car outside. We drove through town and then to Mulberry Street near 5 Points to the section that used to be the heart of the city. We stopped in front of a cigar store.
Okay, Diamond, get out.
Oh, it's so comfortable here.
Come on, move.
Well, if you put it that way. The Rocco Smoke Shop.
Yeah, it's mine.
Bet you sell opium.
In the back, behind those curtains. That's far enough. Ma! Hey, Ma!
I'm right here, Daniel. You know I don't like shouting.
Standing in the doorway was a little gray-haired old lady with a sweet, tired smile on her face. If this is Pete Rocco, he wore quite a disguise.
You Mr. Diamond?
I've given up denying it.
Sit down, please. Daniel, stop looking mean. Go outside and tend the shop.
Oh.
Daniel.
Okay, Ma.
Well, now I've seen everything.
Daniel's a good boy, Mr. Diamond. But one must be stern at times.
Oh, yes, one must.
You're probably wondering why I sent Daniel to bring you here.
Well, I have thought about it between prayers.
Mr. Diamond, I tried to raise my boys the best I could. Peter and Daniel had every chance for success, but Peter failed me. He killed a man.
Go on.
I trained my boys to be pickpockets. That was during their school days, of course.
Oh, yes, of course.
Later, I take them to a nice, tidy little bookmaking business. Like any mother, I wanted to keep them away from violence.
Very thoughtful.
Mr. Diamond, I've known crime and criminals all my life. My husband was an immigrant. A criminal killed in a gang war. It's the only life I could teach them, but Peter failed me. Peter turned to murder.
Mrs. Rocco, this is very interesting, but why was I brought here?
I'm getting to that. Please be patient.
Sorry.
You see, as long as my boys stuck to bookmaking, I was happy. I was proud of them. But when Peter killed that man, well, he failed me.
You said that before.
Yeah, so I did. Mr. Diamond, you're the one who sent Peter to prison. Police couldn't catch him, but you did. I want you to send my boy back where he belongs. Behind bars.
I see.
I'll pay your usual fee. If Peter's out long, he might kill another man. I couldn't stand that. I don't hold with violence, Mr. Diamond.
There was a sad look on her face as she pushed the buzzer beside her chair. She was a proud little thing, but you could see the hurt in her eyes when she spoke of Pete. She was determined to have him put back in prison. After all, she'd only raised him to be a pickpocket. Oh, this modern generation. Absolutely no regard for their parents.
You ring for me, Ma?
Daniel, drive Mr. Diamond back to town. I'll watch the shop. Oh, dear. You haven't said that you'll take the job, have you, Mr. Diamond?
Ma would like for you to, Shamus.
Thank you so much. Daniel, you're looking mean again.
Danny drove me downtown. Instead of going to my office, I went to the 5th Precinct, where I found Sergeant Otis laboring over a crossword puzzle. Poor Otis. He couldn't find a 4-letter word for something that swims, even if you hit him in the face with a herring. Well, hello, Brainchild.
What? Oh, you.
Clever as always, I see.
Shamus, why don't you dig a hole and jump in it?
And disturb your wormy relatives? Oh, perish the thought.
Get lost.
My, I'd be touchy today.
Well, can't you see I'm working a puzzle?
See it? Yes. Believe it. Well, that's another matter. But work on it, genius. I'm going to see Walt.
Oh.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Amundsen. My, you look impressive with your feet on the desk. Saving shoe leather?
Rick, where have you been? I called you 50 times this morning.
Well, I've been chatting with a very pleasant little lady.
Blonde or brunette?
Neither. Her hair was gray.
Well, for you, that's a switch. But, boy, you better go in hiding for a while. Pete Rocco's out of prison.
Yeah, so I heard. Is that why you called me?
Right. Rocco said he'd get you, and he's not the type to kid. He'll be looking for you, Rick.
Well, that's just dandy, Walt, because I'll be looking for him.
What?
I've got a client wants Rocco back behind bars. Any idea where he is?
Not much to go on. He's here in town somewhere, that's for sure.
Why do you say that?
Well, remember that roll he took from that bookie before he plugged him? More than $50,000. He never would tell where he hid it.
Oh, yeah. Do you think he'll hang around long enough to dig it up and then go south, huh?
That's how it looks to me.
On the other hand, he might contact one of his old cronies here to get the dough and meet him somewhere else.
Maybe. But Pete wouldn't trust many people with $50,000.
Well, there was a guy named Roscoe Ward used to prowl around with Pete a lot. He's still around town?
Yeah, I got a location on him this morning. Seems he's a bowling fanatic.
Bowling?
Yep, hangs out in an alley around North Broadway. Joint called Atlas Alley.
Yeah, I know the place. Well, I think I'll get a little exercise.
Bowling, maybe?
It beats snooker. See you around, Walt. I drove up to the Atlas Alleys and parked in a lot across the street. The bowling fanatics were at it hot and heavy, and I sat down in one of the spectator seats. Half an hour later, a pale little punk came in, got an alley, and began bowling alone. I decided to join him, not because he looked lonely, but because his name happened to be Roscoe Ward. Hello, Roscoe.
Huh? Do I know you?
Well, I have the ugliest friends in town. Maybe you'd like to be one of them.
Sorry, I'm antisocial.
Mind if I bowl with him?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'll go first. Oh, I knocked them all down. Now, what will you play with?
Hey, that's not bad. You got a swell approach.
Thanks.
What's your pitch anyway? What do you want from me?
Well, I'd like to meet some of your friends, Roscoe.
Like I said before, I'm antisocial.
So's your friend I want to meet. Just got back in town and won't let anyone see him.
What? Hey, now I remember you. The name's Diamond.
Good memory. Let's try it again. Know where Pete Rocco is?
Oh, so that's it, huh? But you better head to the Catskills. Word said that Petey's going to put a slug through your private eye.
Yeah, so I heard. I thought I'd look him up and beg for mercy or something.
Yeah, I bet. But sorry I can't help you.
You'll look it.
But if I should see Pete, I'll tell him you was looking for him. Yeah, he get a big kick out of that. Now, beat it, leg man. I got a bowl.
Roscoe went back to his game, and I left the alleys. The only thing I knew about Pete Rocco was that somewhere in this city of millions he was waiting to kill yours truly. Not a pleasant thought. But then I'm not in a very pleasant business. I crossed the street to the parking lot and went to my car.
Hi, pal. Been waiting for you.
Wow, Pete Rocco.
Yeah. Get in.
You look thinner, Pete. Can I go across the street and get you a hot dog?
No, thanks, pal. Right now I've got my heart set on a little ride. Now get in.
Before we continue with the adventures of Richard Diamond, private detective, here's your Rexall family druggist. Last week, a customer told me that
something I really like about Rexall milk of magnesia is that one bottle won't be so thick I can't even pour it, and the next one thin and watery. Somehow, Rexall milk of magnesia always seems to be just right.
Well, ma'am, that's because every bottle of Rexall milk of magnesia has to meet an exacting standard of viscosity, or it won't wear the Rexall label.
What do you mean by viscosity?
Well, an easy definition would be the degree of thickness in a liquid. Now, Rexall scientists conduct scientifically precise tests on every batch of Rexall milk of magnesia to make sure it meets this constant standard of viscosity, because that's one big reason why you'll always get a uniform dosage from every bottle.
Oh, and I thought it was all just an accident.
Oh, no, ma'am. There are no accidents behind the fact. You can always depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall. And now back to tonight's adventure with Richard Diamond, private detective, starring Dick Powell. With a gun pointed at me and Pete Rocco at my side, I followed directions and drove to a Harlem address. Pete led me upstairs and into a half-furnished flat.
Far enough. Now sit right here, bright boy. That's good. You know, pal, I've been waiting a long time for this.
You always were the patient type. What are you waiting for now, Pete? An audience?
Oh, I'm in no hurry. You just sit there and square it for a while. Who's there?
It's me, Roscoe. Well, hello, Snoopy. Can you beat this guy, Petey? He was looking for you.
Let's not rub it in, boys.
What you waiting for, Petey? Take care of him. Let's beat it.
Shut up. We don't leave till I get word it's all clear to pick up the money.
Yeah, but when are you going to find out? Who's going to let you know?
Don't get too nosy, Roscoe. Diamond, after you picked me up, I had a rough time. During that trial, I didn't know what they were going to throw at me. Life with a chair. Just had to wait. Well, that's what you're going to do. You're going to sit there and you're going to wait. When you're least suspecting it, I'm going to put 3 slugs through your head.
My barber won't like this.
Yeah, just keep making cracks, wise guy. You'll break before long.
Yeah, you'll break before long.
Is there an echo in here?
Roscoe, did you shake that police tail?
Yeah, he's still looking for me in the bowling alley.
Good. Tie Diamond up tight and keep an eye on him. I'm going out for a while.
Oh, Pete, you ain't going to take a chance on getting sick.
Shut up. Been away for 5 years. I'll do what I want. Now tie him up.
Pete kept the gun on me while Roscoe tied my arms behind a chair. Then he put the gun he had taken from me in his left pocket and his own in his right. He resembled a walking armory as he went out the door.
You know, Snoopy, you're not so bad.
Oh, now watch it, Roscoe. You'll hurt my feelings.
Pete's a rough boy. I'm going to enjoy watching him settle with you.
Oh, you have such simple taste. What's in this for you? Pete giving you a cut?
Yeah, if he ever gets around to picking up the dough. He's got to wait until he gets the all-clear signal now.
Oh, so there's someone else in this. Who, Roscoe?
I don't know. If I did, I wouldn't ask you. No, it's too bad you'll be a corpse.
Oh, thanks for the pleasant thought.
No, I mean it. That strike you made at the bowling alley tonight, that just wasn't luck. You got a swell approach.
You think so?
Yeah. That's where I have my trouble, with my approach. But when Pete gives me my cut of the dough, I'm going to buy me an alley and bowl all the time.
Oh, how exciting.
Say, you want to give me a few pointers?
What?
The approach. Maybe you could help me improve mine, huh? Now, look, this floor is kind of slippery. Now, watch. Now, I always hold the ball like this. You see? I swing it back and approach like this. There. How'd it look to you?
Well, I couldn't see too well from here. Suppose you untie my hands.
Oh, no. You got to stay tied there.
I'm afraid I can't help you then. Come around this side. I can't see through that table.
Oh, all right. Yo, I got it. I'll slide towards you this time.
All right.
There. What do you think of that?
Well, I won't hurt you now.
No, go on. Be brutal.
Well, it's too sloppy, Roscoe. You keep your head up too high.
The head, huh? Oh, yeah, sure. And keep the head down.
That's right. Ward followed instructions and kept his head down, low, just in line with my foot. Chalk up a strike for Diamond. He went down like the number 10 pin. I managed to work my hands up over the back of the chair, then a few calisthenics, and my hands were in front of me, still tied, but free enough to call Walt Levinson on the phone. 15 minutes later, he arrived, put the cuffs on Ward, and untied me.
There, you're loose. You know, maybe I should have kept you tied up. You might stay out of trouble then.
You're so considerate, Walt.
I'll put some men around the house. When Pete comes back with...
Uh-oh. Maybe him now.
Otis, bring Roscoe Ward over here. Come on. Ward, you pick up that phone and act like nothing's happened. Hold the receiver so we can hear who's on the line. If you don't, I'll see that the judge throws the book at you.
Hello.
Roscoe?
Yeah. Is this Pete?
Of course, you dope.
Wrong? Oh, no, Pete. No, everything's fine.
You sound funny. Take the phone over and put the receiver in front of Diamond.
Sure, Pete. He said.
I heard him. Give me that phone. Hello, Pete. Check up to see if I'm comfortable?
How long you been loose, pal?
Come again?
Diamond, I left you in a chair across the room. The phone don't reach that far.
Well, Pete, you're getting smarter.
Yeah, thanks. Too bad I'll have to postpone those 3 slugs in the head. But maybe later.
I'm glad you said maybe, Pete. I have different ideas.
Yeah, we'll see, pal. We'll see.
Well, he tricked us, Walt. He won't be back here.
Does this bird know where he is?
I don't think so. Roscoe, you mentioned that Pete had to wait for the word from someone before he could pick up that money. Who is that someone?
I told you before, I don't know.
Look, punk, you're all through. Help us out and you'll get a better deal in court.
Yeah, if I knew, I'd tell you. All I know is that Pete won't go near the door until someone gives him the green light.
No.
I think he's telling the truth, Walt. Take him downtown and book him. I'm going visiting. I drove back out Mulberry Street to the Rocco cigar store. I was hoping Pete's brother, Dan, might remember some of Pete's old hangouts. I wanted to wrap up this case quickly for 2 reasons. 1, Pete was a killer, might kill again at any minute. And 2, I might be the one he'd killed.
Simon?
Oh, yeah. Hello, Danny.
I'm trying to get you in your office. I think I know where Pete is.
So, Mr. Diamond.
I'll tell you later.
I do hope you have something to report.
Well, not much, Mrs. Rocco. I met your son today on the wrong side of a gun. I don't know where he is now.
Oh, well, that's too bad. You will catch him, I'm sure of that. Peter must be punished. I don't hold with violence, Mr. Diamond.
Ma, don't you want me to drive you over to visit Mrs. Montelli?
Oh, well, that would be nice, Daniel. I'd like that.
Well, you get your wrap and we'll go now.
All right. And, Mr. Diamond, remember, I want my son caught quickly before he can kill again. Good day.
Now then, Danny, what were you saying about Pete?
I know where you can locate him. I didn't want to talk in front of Ma. I want to kept out of this.
Go on.
Pete called me a little while ago. He's coming over tonight.
I'm taking Ma to visit a friend, so she'll be out of the way. Tonight's your chance, Diamond. Tonight.
I made plans to meet Danny out in front of the shop around 8. Then I went back to my office. I called Helen, booked my dinner dates for that evening, and waited as the hours ticked by. 7:30, and I was ready to go. Pete had taken my gun earlier, so I slipped a spare in my pocket and drove to the cigar store. I parked down the street, walked halfway up the block, and met Danny.
Diamond?
Yeah. Our boy showed up yet?
No, but he should be here soon. Come on.
We walked up to the shop, and Danny unlocked the door. The shop was dark as I entered, and I tripped over something on the floor. Hey, can we have some light in here?
Sure. Why not?
That's better. And then I saw what I'd tripped over. Pete Rocco with 6 bullet holes in his body. And then it was clear. Why had Pete come here? To get the money. That made the strong-arm boy behind me the contact. The one Pete was waiting for to give him the all-clear was little brother Danny.
Are you, Shamus?
I'll be honest. Yes, I am.
Pretty smooth, huh? Here, catch. That's good. You'll notice it's your gun. Pete was bragging about how he took it from you. He let me see it.
And that was fatal.
Right. And this gun I got on you now was Pete's. I kill you, put the gun in Pete's hand, then I'm clear. You shot each other. No one will blame me.
You thought this all out, huh?
That's right. Pete and I robbed that bookie together. He left the dope for me to keep after he was picked up. I figured he'd never get out, but when he did, well, it's real convenient you're being around. Now say your prayers, Shamus. This is it.
Is he dead, Mr. Diamond?
No, you hit him in the shoulder. Better call an ambulance, though.
Yes. My boys. Peter and Daniel, look at them. I tried to teach them. I told them I wouldn't stand for violence. But they wouldn't listen. You know, sometimes you've just got to be stern.
For me, Miss Helen?
Yes, Francis. Will you fix us some drinks, please? Soda was mine.
And you, Mr. Diamond?
No, I'll take soda too, Francis. About a jiggerful.
Yes, sir.
Rick,
Don't
you ever get tired?
Playing the piano? Never.
That's not what I meant. Like today, you were almost killed twice.
Honey, you can only be killed once.
All right, then. You were threatened twice. Don't you ever wish you were in a different profession?
For instance?
Oh, insurance, maybe. You can talk fast enough.
Well, you may have something there. Need a lot of gals in the insurance game.
On second thought, you'd be better as a good humor man. Need a lot of children instead.
Gals are like better.
And so I've noticed.
Oh, hell, what's wrong with my own business? Now, where else could I find excitement all day and a beautiful girl to sing to at night?
Flattery will get you everywhere, Mr. Diamond.
Don't I know it? A little bit independent in your walk. A little bit independent in your talk. There's nothing like you in Paris or New York. You're awfully easy on the eye. A little bit independent when we dance. A little bit independent towards romance. A bit of sophistication in your glance. And yet you're easy on the eyes. Whenever I'm with you alone, you weave a magic spell. And though it be a danger zone, I only know that you're swell. A little bit independent with your smile. A little bit independent in your style. How can I help but love you all the while when you're so easy on the eye?
Rick,
Yes, baby?
I've been wondering which holds more attraction for you. Me or my piano?
Oh, come here, baby.
Here's your drink, Mr. Oh! Mr. Diamond. Miss Helen. Oh, dear. Why did I ever leave Cambridge?
Again, here's your Rexall family druggist. Whenever you have a headache, remember this about Rexall aspirin. When taken with water, the 5 full grains of pure aspirin in every Rexall tablet are ready to go to work for you even before they reach your stomach. So whenever you have a headache, remember that about Rexall aspirin. Ask for it at Rexall drugstores everywhere. And remember always, you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall. Richard Diamond, Private Detective, stars Dick Powell in the title role, with music composed and conducted by Frank Worth. Look for Dick Powell in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer production Right Cross, in which he co-stars with June Allison and Ricardo Montalban. Richard Diamond, Private Detective, is transcribed in Hollywood by Jaime Del Valle. This is Bill Foreman inviting you to be with us next week at this time when we will again present Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective. Hiya, beautiful.
Get lost, Bristlepuss. You need a shave.
But I have shaved. What else do you want me to do?
Silly boy, she wants you to go stag.
Go stag? But why?
Because Stag is Rexall's exclusive line of men's good grooming aids. Like Stag Brushless Shave Cream. No fuss, no massage, just smooth it on and presto, you get a clean close shave. Your face stays smooth and whiskerless all day long.
I'll do it. I'll go Stag.
That's it. Join the Stag line now at Rexall drugstores everywhere.
Yes, to make girls care. Go Stag.
This I believe. Here are the basic postulates of all religion, expressed simply and forcefully by Dr. Monroe E. Deutsch, Vice President and Provost Emeritus of the University of California.
I regard the brotherhood of mankind as the basis of any true religion, and for that matter, the basis of any true democracy. Belief in the worth and dignity of the individual is entwined with the idea of human brotherhood. The differences between us, I feel certain, are mainly accidental. We have no choice as to either the color of the skin or the place of birth. Despite these differences, over which no one of us has control, we are all brothers in spirit. Some of us have advantages that others lack, but character is by no means determined by our advantages or the lack of them. The doctrine of human brotherhood, if really practiced by mankind, would fundamentally change the aspect of the world
and make wars and persecutions impossible. And if the world really accepted the principle that all human beings are brothers and should be treated with the respect due to the members of one great family, then a vast number of the problems confronting mankind would be solved. Significant is it that this doctrine, which would revolutionize our society, should have been laid down as one of the cardinal principles of both Christianity and Judaism. Moreover, I find it impossible to conceive of the creation of this complex universe with all its wonders as purely the result of material forces. Somehow, somewhere, there must be a power that has brought into being the principles which govern this world. That power we term God. Assuredly, some force must have given the initial impulse that brought the universe into being. But even beyond this, I cannot feel that that power merely existed at the time the world began to be created. It did not disappear with that first impulse, but has continued throughout the ages. If one accepts, as I do, the view that some power must have started the creation of all that we are and see about us, then it is hard to understand how one can but believe that that power still exists. It is also impossible for me to accept the view that the spirit of man, capable of so much that is great and noble, is wholly extinguished at the death of the body. Exactly how its existence is continued, I have no precise conception, but I do feel that the breaking up of the body cannot end that which was encased within it. To those who believe in immortality, life, as we term it, becomes but one stage in the cycle of existence. Thus Cicero, in his essay on old age, says, "I depart from life as from an inn, not as from a home, for nature has given us a caravansary in which to tarry, not to abide." My own faith rests, therefore, on belief in the dignity and worth of the individual, in human brotherhood, and in the existence of a power that is greater than mankind and greater than the forces that shape our physical environment. I believe in the immortality of the spirit of man and the continuance of the development of what has gone on during what we call life. And finally, I am convinced that religion, whatever its form may be, is indispensable in the life of a people. Above all, stands the fundamental injunction that we believe in one God and recall that He is the Father of us all and that we are brothers.
You have heard the creed of Monroe E. Deutsch of Santa Barbara, California, one of this nation's foremost educators.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as District Attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens. This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. But first, a word from our sponsor.
David Bryan as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney. A district
attorney never knows what hour of the day or night his phone is going to ring with a crime report. The call in this particular case came at night, about an hour after a boy and girl drove down the main street of a small town on the outskirts of the city.
That car still behind us?
No, I kept right on the highway. What's so jumpy about?
The way he was tagging us, I thought it might be a police car.
You are getting chicken, ain't you, Chuck?
I just ain't looking for a trip back to the reform school, that's all.
Oh, stop worrying. No one even knows this car's stolen yet.
That's what you say.
Well, how can it be? You saw the owner going to the movies. It wasn't more than an hour ago. It couldn't be out yet.
Okay, Ruby, okay.
Fun joyride. Can't even stop to eat or go dancing or anything.
You got any money?
You didn't have no car either when we started. You ain't like you used to be, Chuck. We used to have lots of fun. So you turned chick.
Don't you go calling me that. I ain't got a gun, that's all.
I got one, Chuck. Right here in my purse.
Oh, where'd you get that?
Lifted it from my old man. There's a grocery store up ahead. See the sign?
I see.
Can't have fun without any money.
But it's almost 10 o'clock. The place must be closed.
If it was closed, the sign wouldn't be lit. You gonna stop or ain't you?
Sure, I'm gonna stop.
See? Storekeeper's still in there. No customers can see through the window.
Counting up money from the cash register.
Ought to be a lot of it, Chuck. Saturday night.
Stay here. Keep the motor running. Give me the gun.
I want to come in with you.
You what?
Let me come, Chuck. I can handle the gun.
You're crazy. Suppose he's got a gun, too.
Always an old man. He'd be scared stiff. Chuck, let me.
Well, you better not get rattled.
Look who's talking. You're coming or ain't you?
All right. But be careful.
I always wanted to do something like this.
Evening.
Hello.
Hi. Just get ready to close. Your car pulled up outside. Thought it was my wife coming to get me. What can I do for you?
Just hand over that money account.
Now, why don't you youngsters just run along before you get into trouble?
We ain't running any place, mister.
Now, you just get... Where'd you get that gun?
I made it out of old bottle tops, stupid. Turn around. Put your hands up and stand there against those bottles. Get the money, Chuck.
You're going to be sorry about this when you see the inside of the jail.
Thanks for telling us. Because here's something you're going to be sorry about right now.
Ruby, why did you do it?
I wanted to.
Oh, come on. We gotta get out of here. Look out for that broken glass.
You're afraid, ain't you, Chuck?
I'm looking back at it. Let's go.
I didn't know if I'd have the nerve, but I did. I always wondered what it would be like, Chuck. I always wondered.
Sorry I had to spoil your party, but I thought...
Oh, that's what I get paid for. What's that smell?
Salad oil dressing with garlic. Victim fell against the display when he was shot. Broke quite a few bottles.
Is he the owner of the store?
Yeah. Name's Malcolm Barnes. Wife found him just like he is, just before 10 p.m. She probably saw the getaway car. Green convertible pulled away just as she got here.
You have everything photographed?
Yeah. Lab squad just left.
Robbery motive?
Looks that way. Cash register was rifled. Oh, watch out for the broken glass, Chief. Floor's a bit slippery.
More than the dressing, I guess. Shot through the back 3 times. You or any of the squad walk through this stuff?
No, Chief. Why?
Stain marks leading toward the door, as though somebody walked through this mess.
No, I was careful to see that nothing was touched, Chief. You're the first one to be that close to the body.
You're certain of that?
I was the first one here after his wife called.
You got a flashlight?
Yeah.
Let's have a look outside. The stains lead right to the door, all right.
Lucky I told the men to keep the crowd back across the street.
Yeah. Well, flash the light down here.
Yeah? Yep, same stains on the sidewalk.
Runs right out here to the curb. Whoever killed him had some of that garlic oil on their shoes, all right. I don't suppose the dead man's wife got the license number of that green convertible she saw.
No. She didn't know there was any reason for it until she got inside and saw what happened. You want to talk to her?
Yes. You sent her home?
No, not to her own place. Went with a neighbor. She's a pretty old woman. She's taking it pretty hard.
Oh, better let her rest till morning. Is there a phone inside?
Yeah. There you are. Pay station on the wall there. I'll wait out my car.
Miss Miller?
Yeah?
This is Mr. Garrett.
Oh, Mr. Garrett.
Sorry if I've awakened you.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Garrett. It isn't our time to call, though. It's after midnight.
Well, I am sorry, but I'm out near the county line. It'll take me some while to get into the office, and I need somebody there to handle some reports I'll be asking for.
Oh, I see. You'd like me to go into the office?
It isn't too much of an imposition.
Not at all.
Well, I should be in about, an hour or so.
Yes, sir, I'll be there.
Chief, I was just coming in after you.
Find something?
Well, I don't know. The squad car just picked up a call from Radio Division. Somebody from the West End in town reported his car stolen while he was in the movies.
What about it?
Nothing, maybe. But the car was a green convertible.
Call the Radio Division back. Tell them I want every squad in the city alerted to find that car.
No, Mr. Garrett's been waiting for you.
Yeah, what time is it?
3:20 a.m.
Boy, my feet. Now, that's the life of a DA's assistant for you. We never sleep.
On behalf of stenographers, accept my sympathy.
Got anything on that car yet?
No? Yes, Mr. Garrett?
Have you heard from Harrington yet?
He just came in.
Be right in, Chief. He's hot tonight. I got held up at ballistics, Chief, waiting for the report.
All right. What have you got?
Well, the gun was a .38 caliber police special.
That's too common to do us much good. You speak to the owner of the stolen car?
Yeah. His story is straight enough. Left the car, went to a movie.
Alone?
Yeah, but he had his ticket stub. Knew what the picture was all about. When he came out, he stopped for a hamburger, went to his car, and found it missing.
You check him for a record?
Yeah, nothing on him. Carpenter, good job, works steady.
Uh-huh. Well, better take the ballistics report down to gun records. See if they can come up with anything. All right. Excuse me. Yes, Miss Miller?
This is Sergeant Corbett from the 12th Precinct on the line. They found that stolen car.
Put him on. Hello, Corbett.
I've got that car, Mr. Garrett.
Did you get the driver, too?
No, sir. We found it abandoned.
Where?
On the West End, about half a mile from the theater it was stolen from.
Half a mile. Any way of telling how far it was driven?
No, sir.
Anything to indicate it might have been used for that killing out near the county line?
Only what you told us to watch out for, sir. There are a few light oil stains on the floor mat. Not motor oil either. It's the smell of garlic.
That's what I wanted, Corbett. What's your location?
7th Roxbury Terrace.
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Sounds good.
It is. Come on. You listen in?
Yes, sir.
And you know where I'll be. Use Radio Division to contact.
What about this ballistics report?
Give it to Miss Miller. Take it down the gun records. See if they have any ideas.
Yes, sir.
And call the garage for a car. Tell them we're on our way down.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is the car, just as we found it, Mr. Garrett. Since we're not going to get any fingerprints from that steering wheel, not with that cloth cover. Might get something from the dashboard or the inner door handles, but I don't know. Not often you pick up good prints on a car. Let me have your flashlight, honey.
Here.
Smell the garlic? Yes. Comes from the stains on the mat. Something else in here, too. He said crime picture show.
What's that on? Let's see.
Yeah.
He just caught a flash of something else. Turn the light. What is this?
Old bobby pin. Lipstick is rather light shade, too. Killer might have had a woman with him. Probably a blonde.
Bobby pins and Fisher might belong to the owner's wife. Or his girl. I doubt that, Corbett.
What makes you say that, Harrington?
I saw the owner and his wife, Chief, remember?
What about it?
Woman's a brunette. Got one of those modern short hairdos. Not enough hair left to use a bobby pin.
Whoever killed that storekeeper may wind up with a short haircut, too.
I don't get it, Mr. Garrett. Get out before they go to the chair.
This is David Bryan. Before we continue with Mr. District Attorney in the case of the Joyride murder, here's an important message I'd like you to hear.
Back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
A storekeeper had been robbed and killed near the county line. The crime had been committed in an automobile stolen from and returned to the West End section of town, indicating that the killer lived somewhere in that section. The lipstick stain and bobby pin indicated a blonde woman accomplice. The leads were flimsy and not very hopeful until we got back to the office.
Oh, Mr. Garrett, I was just trying to reach you through radio division.
Something come up?
That ballistics report you told me to take down to gun records?
Yes.
Well, Johnny Manuel just called through down there. Came across something he thought you might want to look into.
What?
Well, I've got it written down here. A man named Jim Hammer filed a report with Central Division last night just before midnight. Said a gun had been stolen from his house.
What caliber?
Same as a murder weapon. 38 police special.
That could be something, Chief.
Yes, Harrington. Did this Jim Hammer have his gun registered?
Yeah, here's the serial number and his permit number.
Well, where does he live?
Over in the West End.
That ties in with the stolen car.
It certainly does. You'd better get downstairs, Harrington. Check this Hammer for a record.
Oh, I already did that, Mr. Garrett.
Well, good work, Miss Miller.
We have nothing on him. Not in the criminal file. But there's something in the special police record.
You mean he's a cop?
Night watchman at the Penny Aircraft Plant. As a matter of fact, he told Central Division he found the gun missing when he was getting ready to go to work last night. Couldn't find it in the drawer he usually keeps it in.
What time is it now?
Almost 11 a.m., Chief.
Well, Hammer ought to be home from work by now. You get his address?
Yes. 214 West Spruce.
Good. You can go home now and get some sleep.
Well, I'm not tired if you need me.
If I do, I'll call you back again. And thank you very much for what you've done.
Anytime, Mr. Garrett.
Let's get downstairs before they send that car back to the garage, Harrington. Knock again, Harrington.
There's somebody home, all right. There's a vacuum cleaner going in there.
He probably can't hear you. Lean over the rail, rap on the window.
Okay. Yeah, there's a young girl in there. Got a towel wrapped around her head, cleaning up. Oh, miss. Hey, miss. That did it. She's coming.
Yes?
I'd like to speak to Jim Hammer, please.
He ain't home.
You know where we can find him?
Working. Over at the ballpark.
I thought he was the night watchman at the Finney Aircraft.
Yeah, but he works at the ballpark, too, when they play Sunday home games.
You look kind of young. You're not his wife, are you?
No, I'm his daughter, Ruby Young.
Well, thank you, miss.
Can I, give him a message or anything?
No, we'll go over to the ballpark and talk to him.
Well,
Can I tell him what it's about? In case you happen to miss it or something.
It's all right, miss. We'll make sure to see him. Goodbye.
Bye.
What do you think, Chief? I'll know better when Hammer tells us about that stolen gun. If it was stolen. Home team warming up on the field. They need it. The home team always does. What section did they say Hammer was on?
Grandstand B, just up ahead. Oh, there's a man in uniform now. Hey, officer. Yeah? Like to talk to you for a minute.
Your name Jim Hammer?
Yeah.
I'm Paul Garrett, district attorney.
Oh, well, where you sit, Mr. Garrett, I'll get you some cushions.
We're not here to see the game, Hammer. This is business. I understand you had a gun stolen from your home last night.
Oh, that. Well, you shouldn't have called the district attorney after a thing like that. It makes me feel kind of silly.
What do you mean?
Well, the gun wasn't stolen at all. I guess I just didn't look sharp enough last night. I found it this morning, but in a different drawer from where I usually keep it.
That gun you're carrying, right there in your holster?
Yeah, that's it.
You mean to say you just took a look in one drawer last night and reported the gun stolen without being sure?
Well, I was sure last night. I was late for work and in a hurry. Guess I just overlooked it, that's all.
How come you didn't let the police know you found it?
Well, I suppose I should have. I didn't think there was no rush. Besides, what's the harm? It's my gun, ain't it?
And move in between these two posts.
Why?
Do as he says, Hammer.
Now, have a look at that gun.
All right.
Don't you pull it. Just turn around. I'll take it myself.
Okay.
When did you fire this gun last, Hammer?
I can't even remember the last time. I ain't had any call to fire.
No, huh? Yeah. Smell this, Chief.
It's been used all right. Not too long ago.
You're crazy, I tell you. I ain't fired that gun in months.
Somebody has. Replaced the cartridges, but didn't clean it.
You'd better come with us, Hammer.
Come with you? Where?
To the county building, until we check on a few things.
Check on what?
Hammer, a storekeeper named Barnes was killed last night out near the county line. He was shot 3 times through the back with a .38 police special.
Are you saying I did it? I wasn't nowhere near county line last night.
We know you filed a stolen gun report about midnight, but where were you between 9 and 11 o'clock last night?
I was home sleeping. My daughter can tell you that.
Go ahead, Hammer. What are you stopping for?
My daughter wasn't home. I just remembered. She was out when I got up to go to work.
And nobody saw you between 9 and 11?
No. Nobody. But I was home, Mr. Garrett. You gotta believe me. And that gun ain't been fired.
If we're wrong, you've got nothing to worry about. Just come along.
You want me to take this gun to ballistics, Chief?
Yes. Have them test fire it to compare the slugs with the ones taken out of the body. If this is the murder weapon, they'll know it.
I tell you, it can't be.
The lab doesn't make mistakes, Hammer. As a matter of fact, if you're telling the truth, there's a little test you can volunteer to take. The Fenelman test.
Well, what's that?
Just a matter of pouring a chemically treated wax on your hand. When they peel it off, it will show traces of nitrate if you fired a gun recently.
I haven't, I tell you.
I heard you. But I'd like to hear it from a police technician, just to be sure. No point in wearing yourself out, Hammer. Might as well sit down.
How can I sit down? What are you keeping me for? You heard what the lab man said. My hands are clean. Was it no nitrate on it?
If we get a negative report on your gun when Harrington comes in, you can go.
Here he is now. All right. Tell him. Tell him so I can get out of here, will you?
Well, I'm going to tell him this ain't going to get you out of here, Hammer. Here's the comparative photo blows of the slugs, Chief.
What are you saying?
In plain English, your gun's been identified as the murder weapon, Mr. Hammer.
That's a lie.
You weren't in bed sleeping at 10 o'clock last night. You were cruising around county line. The stolen car was a woman with you.
That ain't so, Mr. Garrett. I swear it ain't so.
You'd better tell us the truth, Hammer, because we'll check out every statement you make. You go around with a blonde woman?
The only blonde woman I ever went around with was my wife, and she died 6 years ago. That gun was missing from my house last night, then. It must have been. Somebody must have taken it, then put it back again.
Oh, sure. Come outside a minute, Harrington. What's up? I think he's telling the truth.
Oh, gee.
His wife was a blonde.
She's dead.
His daughter isn't.
You mean the girl we saw this morning? She had a dust towel wrapped around her head. Her hair could be any color.
Let's ask him. How old is your daughter, Hammer?
18.
She favor you or your wife?
Like her mother used to be, I guess. What are you asking about her for?
Was she out with you any place last night?
No. She was out on a date.
With who?
How should I know? All I know is she wouldn't get into trouble.
I've heard parents say that same thing in 100 courtrooms.
First you tried to pin this thing on me, now it's my daughter. Are you crazy? She's only a kid!
She's also a blonde, and she also had access to your gun. No ordinary thief would take it away and then return it.
You shoot her and I'll...
Mister, take it easy if you want this arm in one piece.
Let him go, Harrington. Come on, Hammer. We're going out to your house.
Come here a minute. What? High heel shoes in the closet here. Oil stain up. A little of that garlic smell, too. Oh, I found this in the pocket of the girl's coat. Amusement park picture of her with some boy.
Let me see that picture.
Why, what's the matter?
Don't you remember this boy, Harrington?
Yeah, sure. He's on 34th Street 3 years ago. Chuck Allen. Grand theft auto.
My daughter wouldn't go out with anybody like that.
Oh, of course not, Hammer. She just got a habit of posing for pictures with people she wouldn't go out with.
Almost midnight.
I ought to be going to the aircraft.
Not tonight, Hammer. Put all the lights out, Harrington. We'll wait for Miss Hammer to come home.
Somebody coming down the street, Chief.
I hear him. I don't think it'd work, Hammer. I may come in, so keep quiet. Understand?
Yes.
I can't see nothing, Ruby. Out of light.
Wait here long enough for me. I had all you left to go.
Well, what do I do now?
What's the good having when it ain't gonna stand us?
Well, can't you wait a while? Hey, you got a job. I start spending money, people are going to wonder where I got it.
All right, but I ain't waiting. You go out with somebody else. Somebody's got a car every night. And wait until they get one.
Ruby, shut up. Who's that? Come here. Let go of that door, Chuck.
Who are these guys? What are you home for?
They're after him, the thief.
Quiet, Hammer.
I didn't do nothing. Let me go.
Hold still.
Yeah. Quite a roll of bills for a boy who isn't working.
I found it.
Where, Chuck? In the cash register out near the county line after you killed the storekeeper?
So that's why you wanted my father's gun.
What? To tell him, Ruby. If he had my gun, tell him.
Last night. He wanted to borrow it. Just for fun, he said. Then he stole a car and he made me go with him out to county line. I didn't know what he was going to do.
She's lying. I didn't shoot him. She did.
She's only a little girl. You can prove he did it, Mr. Garrett. Give him the same test you gave me on his hands. Give it to both of them.
What kind of test?
They pour wax on your hands, honey. He can tell if you fired a gun.
Ruby! Went into her father's bedroom. Bring it in, Harrington.
I can't find it.
If you're looking for your father's gun, you'll see it later, Ruby. Down at police headquarters.
I didn't mean that. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I got scared when you kidnapped me.
Better think that over before you tell it to a jury, Ruby. Or they'll have a hard time figuring how a man got shot in the back. All right, Harrington. Let's get him downtown. This is David Bryan. I hope you enjoyed this case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor.
Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
You probably remember the case very well. Chuck Allenby turned state witness and made a full confession. He is now serving a life term. Ruby Hammer was convicted of murder in the first degree and is serving a life sentence. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord.